Hey everyone, what is up, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. Today we'll be recording episode 46, which is the very first episode of Chapter 6. So I know nothing about Chapter 6, and that's also true of 7 and 8, to be clear. But I don't even know who the protagonist is. If you can see right here, I've got this shortcuts folder. And it was like 2 years ago, I stripped out the icons, so I don't even remember who they are. But I'm guessing the moment I click it, it's going to tell me who the protagonist is. So I figured it'd be interesting to start from here, so that I can maybe kind of get the reveal. So let's go ahead and click into this. We'll see who it brings up. That's Keiichi, so maybe not then. That makes me think... never mind. Never mind. I was going to say that makes me think Chapter 3, but Chapter 1 is also very much about Keiichi, so that's not completely true. Alright, last time I used new. This time we're going to use Jin's. I had some commenters suggesting that I switch to Jin's BGM. And so we're going to try that one out. English. We are skipping the openings. And full screening the game. Let's see what we got on the main menu this time. Okay, so this is an interesting start. First of all, we see the school, and to me, that immediately makes me think Chapter 3, honestly. And we also have this little thing right here, right? And I don't know, for me, I kind of interpreted it as that, whatever craziness is going around in Chapter 5, Shion had it, and she was the protagonist. It makes me think we're going to get another character with it. And so, honestly, my first thought is it's going to be Chapter 3 from Satoko's perspective. I don't know. I don't know that factually, but that could be interesting. All right, I guess let's get going. I'm excited. While I was setting up the audio, I did have one more idea on what this chapter could be. So, obviously, the first guess was Chapter 3 Satoko, but my other guess, and one that might make more sense to me, maybe, is Chapter 1 Rena, right? Not because I think she went crazy during Chapter 1, but she was crazy before it. So it could start with her at her other school, as she gradually gets crazy and then lashes out, and then starts to see Satoshi going crazy. Kind of warns Shion about it, maybe tries to get involved with Satoshi to help him, and then she sees Keiichi. I think that could be an interesting one too. Just the fact, those two make the most sense to me. If I think it's going to be someone crazy. Let's go ahead and just start it up. It'd be funny if I have neither of them correct. Okay, wait. We got the junkyard. I'm actually thinking Chapter 1 now. The first fall. Wait. We're going all the way back. Sumi Horoboshi, the first fall. The Atonement chapter. Okay, this has got to be Rena, right? I feel like she was trying to atone for how she went crazy by trying to save Satoshi and Keiichi, right? Gotta be. It's gotta be. It's gotta be Chapter 1 Rena. Alright. How is your reasoning towards the truth coming along? The next tragedy is ready for you. Enjoy. This is a humorous story with a tragic struggle at the end. Yeah. Dude, the tragic struggle at the end. I really, truly believe this is Chapter 1. That's interesting, though. The difficulty is 0. You can just enjoy the clowns milling about. That's an interesting way to put it. Difficulty is 0 is kind of nice. Maybe I get to turn my brain off. No, I won't, but, maybe. Let's go and start. Hey, that's a different sound effect. So it concludes choices that were included in the console version. Leads to bad ends. We are going to prompt choices and can highlight the correct answers. We're not going to look at the bad ends otherwise. The first time I would try harder to avoid the inevitable tragedy. The second time I would be disgusted with the inevitable tragedy. The third time my disgust would turn into anguish. The seventh time I'd be laughing by then. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblances to actual persons or organizations is entirely coincidental. The seventh time. That's interesting. I mean, there's definitely not 7 years, so you gotta wonder what's going on there. Wait, is this actually going to be like Rika? Rika MC? If, like, that could make sense, maybe. The chorus of the Higurashi had replaced that of the cicadas. Their cries came from a distance, echoed loudly, and then faded away. They sounded so weak and fragile. Rena's voice was just like the cries of the Higurashi. She'd say something, but the words would quickly fade away. Yeah, okay, so it is Rena. So, what does she mean? Like, seventh time is probably just an exaggeration. I probably don't need to put too much stock in that. She sounded so fragile that it made me worry she might vanish into thin air along with her words. Wait, no. This isn't Rena MC, then. Is it actually Rika? But nobody's pressuring her to continue. Mion dusted off the hood of an abandoned car and sat down on it as if to show how relaxed she was. She actually did look very relaxed, as if she came here to enjoy the cool breeze of the evening or something. Satoko followed Mion's example and sat down as well. Okay, so it looks like I did not cook on that guess, but, you know, not a big deal. It looks like it's Rika to me. She didn't look nearly as relaxed, however. I thought about following suit, but it felt rude to look away from Rena, even for the short time it would take to look for a place to sit down, so I decided to remain standing. Rika-chan didn't sit down either. Oh, it's not Rika either. Who is this, then? But she wasn't looking at Rena. Everybody else was looking at Rena, but Rika-chan was looking at the red sky. Rika-chan's expression was hard to describe. She looked pale and blank at the same time, as if all of her emotions were gone. Rena wore the same kind of expression. She kept trying to say something, but it seemed like the words were stuck in her throat. She noticed Rika-chan was looking at the sky, so she decided to look that way as well. Mio did the same. So did I. Satoko looked that way too. Is this going to be like Keiichi MC again? If so, that's certainly not what I would have expected. I mean, it's either that or like Satoshi MC? But does that make sense? I mean, maybe. That there was silence. It was like we were in a concert hall, filled with the chorus of the Higurashi, a concert hall with the highest roof in the world. A refreshingly cool breeze tickled our sweaty bodies. I could almost make myself believe we came here to enjoy the breeze and the sunset. I could only wish that was what we came here for. The shadows of the birds flying across the sky soured the feeling of our quiet concert. They reminded us that time hadn't stopped. Nobody wanted to pressure Rena. We didn't want time to pressure her either. We wanted to keep the cool red sky as long as we could, so Rena could calm down and talk. Right then, I heard a sound, and it brought us all back to reality. The hood Mion was sitting on had made a noise when she moved across her legs. I don't know whether Mion made the noise on purpose or not, but it reminded us that time had been passing by. The noise took our attention away from the sky and back to the ground. Such a tasteless noise seemed to have urged Rena to speak. Rena heaved a small sigh, nodded as if she understood something, and looked at us like she always did.
話す前に一個だけ言いたいことがあるの。
We're getting serious. She was probably saying it to everybody, but since I'm standing in the middle with her looking at me, I nodded to her to represent our agreement.
レナは正しい努力をしたと思ってる。
Her voice wasn't hoarse anymore. She sounded just like she always did.
人って幸せになるためにどれだけの努力が許されるのかな。
What is going on here? It sounded like a question, but nobody answered.
だからね、私みーちゃんの部活って好きなの。ほら、優勝のためには何でもしようって考え方、そういうのって素敵だと思う。だって世の中が綺麗事で縛られてて、やっていい努力がわずかだけに決められていたら、幸せじゃない人たちはますます幸せを勝ち取れなくなっちゃうじゃない？
This just sounds so ominous. I think I did the right thing.
不幸ってね、連鎖するものだと思うの。一度続き始めるとなかなか抜け出せない。そこから抜け出すには運とか人の助けとか、そういう他力本願なものだけじゃ到底足りない。自分でももっともっと努力しないといけないと思うの。
Right.
それも本当の本当に精一杯。そこまでしてやっとつかめるのが幸せってものじゃないかなって。
What is the context of this scene? Rena stopped talking, looked up, heaved a sigh, and opened her mouth again.
でもだからってみんなにもそれを受け入れてもらおうなんて
Yeah, I mean,
甘えるつもりもないかな。
she clearly did something big.
だって本当に汚らしいもの。みんなだってついさっき呆然としたでしょ。それはつまりそういうことだよね。
I've never seen her smile so self-derisively like this. That smile looked unbelievably painful. I could really feel how huge the distance between us was. There's nothing physically there, but I felt as if she's talking to us through iron bars or a chain-link fence. That's how great the distance between us was. So what did she
で
do?
もそれでもいいよ。
I
仕方ないもんね。
really do not know the context of this scene.
そういう風にできてる世の中だもん。
I mean, that's kind of the point, I imagine, or maybe I'm just dumb.
多分私が逆の立場でいられたなら同じように唖然として無責任で無慈悲な同情を浮かべていたに違いないもの。
She probably said that to hit back at us. We're just putting on a mask of sympathy, enjoying the spectacle of a clown on a stage. That's why she said that. Kind of ties into the intro. Clown on a stage. They mentioned enjoying the like of the clowns. She probably expected us to say something in return, but none of us knew what to say. Rena looked disappointed for a moment, then turned and clambered on top of an abandoned car. Then she spread her arms out and gave a little twirl, letting her skirt billow up before she grabbed both ends and gave us a grateful curtsy.
じゃあ始めるよ。リュウグウレナの一世一代の頑張り物語を。
So this does mean Rena MC? There was no curtain or spotlight. She was atop an abandoned car amidst the trash piles, a stage specially made for her. We tried not to miss a word of what she was about to say. We believed that was the least we could do to not hurt her feelings. Chapter 6, Sumi Horoboshi. What just happened? So clearly Rena did something that she does not particularly think the group approves of. But she thinks it was necessary, is kind of the way I read it. It's kind of interesting. I mean, that intro doesn't seem to be from the perspective of Mion, Satoko, Rika, or Rena. So maybe it is Keiichi? I don't... If it's Keiichi, though, I don't really know when this would be. I mean, I guess it could be like Satoshi, maybe. Like, if it's Keiichi, like I said, the big question is when. Like, when is this? Because it can't be after chapters 1 or 3, obviously, because he's dead, right? And some of them are dead. During those chapters, there doesn't seem to be any point that really makes sense, so I don't know. So I don't really know who this is. It's interesting. Very interesting. But like I said, I think the bigger thing was kind of Rena's speech. Like I said, she clearly did something that is not generally approved of, but she thinks she did the right thing. She's doing what she had to do to struggle to be happy, right? It was her struggle towards happiness, right? Compares it to the club. The one rule is to do whatever it takes to win. That's what it takes to seize happiness. You got to do whatever it takes, right? So she clearly took some kind of really drastic measure. But what exactly was it, of course? I mean, could that scene maybe have something to do with what they heard about, like, I don't know, heard about her doing in, like, at her old school? When she, like, beat out those windows and beat up some guys with a baseball bat? Maybe it's her telling them about that? I don't know. Because maybe to her, that's how she's seizing her happiness. That's just a thought, right? I think that's possible. One thought that suddenly entered my mind for some reason is what if I've been assuming that only Rika is the one who is time looping? What if it's not just Rika, right? It's just something I kind of just now thought about. Like, I don't know, what if Rena somehow is too? Like, what if she's referring to her actions in a different chapter, right? I don't know. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. Just an interesting thought, at the very least. It's not really something I'd even considered, right? So, just something I'm going to keep in mind. Like I said, I don't think it's super likely. If anything, right now, main guess is they're referring to her violent outbreak at the school. But we're just going to go on for now. There's an interesting scene. Definitely one that I'm going to want to like go back to and really figure out what exactly it means, you know? I'm sure we'll get more context as we play, but, you know. Let's say it's a winter month like December right now. What would you do if, all of a sudden, you had a week of hot and humid days with crying cicadas? Would you still wear your coat and scarf? Absolutely not, right? Even though it's still June. It's already summer to us, since we've been having hot days for so long, so it's totally okay to do this kind of club activity in June. At my school, everybody usually does whatever they want in PE class, but today would be an exception. All my classmates were gathered in the schoolyard. Mia looked over everybody gathered there, then spoke up loudly.
さーてみんな、今日の趣旨はよくわかってるね。
They all raised the water guns in their hands. It's okay to use water guns in June, because it's been so hot and humid. All my classmates were joining in, so it's going to be a big water gun battle. I'm so excited.
さすがクラス全員で部活だとなんだか盛り上がりますわね。そうだね。全員で表ではしゃぐのってなんだか楽しそうかな。みんなは楽しいですが、僕たちは例によって負けられないのです。
Okay, we've seen like every character we would assume is a possible contender for the like main character, but we haven't seen inside anyone's thoughts. We'll see who we follow later, I guess, because
そういうことだな。
okay.
およそ勝負と名の付く以上、
Keiichi
俺た
is
ち部
here.
活メンバーは常にリスクを背負ってるからな。
I mean, I've been assuming this is just a tie-in with another chapter. Is that not true? Is that maybe not the case? Meaning maybe it's just Keiichi MC again? I'm sure we'll realize soon enough based on whoever we actually follow here
まあそういうこと。
when they split up.
部活メンバー諸君は部活に負けたりしちゃうと大変なペナルティーが待ってるからね。せいぜいしっかり戦うこと。
よしよし、もう生徒諸君、武器点検は十分か、弾倉は満タンか。
任せてくださいよ、前原さん。銃撃戦は僕たちの最も得意とするところですからね。
Where have you been getting practice for that?
富田たちはよく水鉄砲で遊んでますから、かなり強敵かもなのですよ。
Get a load of these guys.
今日の僕たちは少し違います。
Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun smiled confidently, holding their guns in a practiced manner. Their skills must give them confidence. They even looked different.
ミオンは言うに及ばず、サトコもリカちゃんもかなり強敵になりそうだぜ。レナはどうだ？ちょこまか動いて、いいの一番にやられないように頑張れよ。そういえば、最近のレナは罰ゲーム常連だな。は
あ、最近不得意なゲームが多かったから。
Didn't see any internal thoughts there, so.
でも、ケイチ君も最近私と同じで罰ゲームが多いと思うかな。
They're both the perma losers.
罰ゲームの格好のまま帰宅して、さあ脱ごうとしたところでお袋に見つかった俺の哀愁などわかるものか。無我。
私だって先週のはひどいよ。普通の女の子ならお嫁に行けなくなっちゃうよ。
What in the world did they have Rena do? Satoko laughed at us loudly while we were shuddering at the memory of the cruel punishments we suffered in the past.
覇気や運気にも偏りというのがございましてよ。その意味から言えば、ここしばらくのレナさんやケイチさんはいわゆる負け組というやつでございますわね。
Now, was all that necessary?
確かに負け癖ってやつはあるね。闘志ってやつは負けが続くとくじけてくる。絶対勝てるという信念が砕けると、全く同じことをやっても裏目に出るもんだからね。
てめえら、たまったま俺とレナがちょいと罰ゲームを哀れに思って引き受けてやってたのを感謝もせずにその言い草か。
あら、そうでしたの？
You're gonna have to prove that.
それは感謝の気持ちが足りず申し訳ないことでございましたよ。
They're not gonna believe you anyways.
うわー、サトコてめえ、そのセリフは俺の怒りに火をつけたぜ。
Seeing this again is kind of shocking. I didn't really think we'd see another club scene, honestly.
後悔させてやる。
その意気だよ、ケイちゃん。まあせいぜいあがいておじさんを楽しませてちょうだいよね。レナも頑張って。あうあう言ってる間にクラスで一番最初に脱落したらさすがに恥ずかしいからね。でもその可能性も高いかな。
一番最初に脱落するのがレナさんだと思いましてよ。どんな目に遭うか今からお覚悟なさいませな。ひどいよ。みーちゃんもさとこちゃんも。
A little bit. A little bit.
レナもケイイチもファイトおーですよ。
It's so weird seeing this all again. It's not like a bad thing. I just like said I didn't expect to see like all of this again, you know? Kind of figured we were through this. Mion and Satoko laughed at us as loud as they could, then moved on to tease their next target. So I mean, it's gotta be one of Keiichi or Rena, right? Left alone, all he did was stomp on the floor in anger.
さあ
Okay, so it's Keiichi.
絶対負けねえ。あそこまで言われたら負けられねえぜ。
Huh. Okay. Never mind.
そうだね。
It's interesting.
あそこまで言われると悔しいよね。
I honestly didn't think it was gonna be him. Like, I really thought it was gonna be like anybody else, actually.
っていうか悔しいどころじゃねえぞ。プライドの問題だぞ。くさ。
みーちゃんの言うように負け癖ってやっぱりあるかもしれないよね。だから今日は絶対に勝ってみんなを見返してやろう。
Right. Rena's eyes looked different. She's usually a funny and weird person, but I know she has the determination to do what she needs to. When Rena looks like this, she can be a tough opponent.
今日は私も部活の規則にのっとり手加減なしでいく。
おい、なんだかかっこいいこと言うじゃねえの。
Don't mess with her today.
まるで普段の自分はわざと手を抜いているって言わんばかりだぜ。
Rena smiled. Or maybe you could have called it a wicked grin. She was serious. She was serious about what she said. I could tell that from her expression alone. Among all the club members, Rena's easily the most sensible one. The rule of our club is that we can do anything in order to win, but she's the only one who has moral qualms in doing it. That's why we rarely have a hard time against her, except for when she snaps. It's rare to hear her say that she won't go easy.
ちくしょう、そんな笑い方されたら俺も超本気で行くしかねえじゃねえかよ。
いつも本気で戦うのが部活だけど、それでもやっぱりそれ以上に本気じゃないといけない時ってあるよね。
What, this is that time?
今日は多分それだね。
だな。
We pounded our fists together. This already is kind of an interesting mirror to that intro, where she was talking about, like, I did what I had to do, right? Like, you know, I don't think what I did was wrong. And I mean, I don't assume it's referring to this, right? So it's kind of an interesting mirror, right? Seeing her do that in, like, the club, and then maybe it, like, I don't know, maybe it encourages her to do it to solve some real-life situation. We pounded our fists together. Why can I not speak today? Usually when we really don't want to lose the game, one asks the other to work together, but Rena didn't ask this time, which meant that she was going to try to defeat everybody by herself. No, not try. She was going to do it by herself. Rena looked really cool at that moment, but I wasn't scared. If she was seriously going to do it, I'd have to be serious and do it too. My fighting spirit had been dented after many losses, but it had begun to burn hot once more.
ケイチ君もなかなかいい顔してるね。
We're getting a duel today.
怖いな。全員と一人で戦っても勝てるつもりでいる顔だね。
レナだってそのつもりだろ。
じゃあぶつかるのは最後だね。
互いにクラス全員を全滅させたら最後にはそうなるな。
最後の戦いの時、そこにいるのがケイチ君なのを期待してるね。
This feels like foreshadowing.
おう。
And I don't mean for this fight scene. We pounded our fists together again.
光線規定はちゃんと覚えてるね。被弾時の申請だけは正直にね。被弾した人は撃っちゃダメだよ。仮に当てても無効ね。
ミオン、被弾の定義を再確認したいぜ。
水鉄砲で撃たれたら被弾。ひねくれたケイちゃんのためにさらに補足するなら、水鉄砲というこの容器から出た水が最初に触れたものが標的であった時被弾とするわけ。
Right.
つまり水鉄砲を経由した水をバケツに溜めてぶっかけても無効ってわけ。
直接攻撃以外は有効じゃないってことだね。さとこちゃんの脅威が少し薄らいだかな。
Should probably still be, but it can't be in the same manner as normal. Most likely, unless she somehow comes up with some crazy trap that involves pulling the trigger of the water gun automatically. Yeah, we're talking about the trap master here.
トラップにも
Relax.
いろいろございましたよ。レナさんなんか一番最初に餌食にして差し上げましたよ。それは無理。私を仕留めようとしたらさとこちゃんじゃまだまだ役不足だね。
She's confident today.
なんですって？
ほほほ。
Talking big.
レナが売り言葉とはね。こりゃあ面白くなりそうだよ。ねえケイちゃん。
大して面白くねえと思うぞ。俺かレナかどっちにやられたいかを選ばされるだけなんだからな。
Yo,
ケイチもやる気満々なのです。
everyone's talking big today. Mion seemed to sense the fighting spirit in me and Rena. I could tell that she's as serious as we are, just from the way she looks.
おっしゃ、いい面構えだよ。気に入った。じゃあ始めるよ。全員3回。くじで決められた場所に移動してね。
Everybody had to draw lots to pick a place to start the game from. It wouldn't be fun if everybody was close together at the beginning of the game. By the way, my starting position was behind the school building. When I drew this starting position, I thought about hiding until there were only a few people left like I did in our last game of tag. But a defensive tactic like that wasn't interesting to me anymore. Okay, so it's the zombie tag game. Happened. Makes me think, what? That was chapter 1, right? I think. I'm mixing up my club games here. I think zombie tag was chapter 1. Which doesn't necessarily confirm that this is chapter 1. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of... When is this? When is this? Like I said, best guess is definitely chapter 1 right now. But like maybe like there are plenty of little periods of time that got skipped over that maybe things happened during. I don't know. Let's just keep moving for now. Just really, like, when are we? Is this just a unique scenario? I don't know. It's possible. It is possible. I really was so under the assumption that it wouldn't be that I genuinely did not consider the possibility of it just being a unique scenario coming into this. So I'm having a hard time, like, dropping the idea that it's chapter 1 or 3. I hadn't been this excited in a long time. My legs were shaking with the excitement. It was my first time experiencing that kind of feeling. I could hear Mion's countdown from some distance away.
3、2、1。
A single shot of a toy pistol echoed. We're gonna let this roll for just a second. Okay. Kind of a fire track. With that sound, I was already running around the building. There had to be some underclassmen nearby. I'd usually assume that somebody else would take care of them, but this time was different. Man, he's in a frenzy. They stood frozen in fear as I ran towards them, screaming at the top of my voice. It took a moment to quickly decide whether to fight or to run away, and in that moment I shot one after another.
悪いな。俺の隣が当たった時点で運がなかったと思ってくれ。
I felt bad for them because they lost the game so quickly, so I rubbed their heads to cheer them up and then took their water guns. Yes, that was the key factor in this game. You can't put very much water in a water gun. Bro is strapping up. With 10 people around you in a gun battle, the water would be gone in a minute. I abandoned the gun I used to shoot them, held one of their guns in each hand, and scoped out the schoolyard. Just like I expected, there was an intense battle happening there. In the short time it took me to take care of the area behind the school building, it seems like most of my classmates were already shot. I wasn't surprised, though. I kind of knew it had happened. You need to have a high skill to fight in the open schoolyard. Especially when most of the club members were there. It must have been like a battle of elephants and ants.
なんだミオンのあれは。
she brought an illegal gun. She brought an illegal rifle. You should have seen this coming. You didn't pull out the water sniper? Get a load of this guy. Mia was holding a different water gun from the one she had when the game started. She was now holding one that looked like a huge machine gun. That's the most Mion thing ever. I love that. That's a brilliant move. Let her cook. Its range capability, its pump action shooting, and the amount of water it can hold were way beyond comparison. There were no restrictions on what kind of water guns we could use today. As long as it's a water gun, we were allowed to use any kind. Most of us have a normal pistol-style water gun from a local toy store or something similar. But not Mion. I would have bought a bigger one like Mion's if they'd had one. But they weren't in stock, and I'd have to order it in. In other words, Mion ordered hers a long time ago, just for today. She's always well prepared when it comes to winning. She must have thought that we wouldn't allow her to use the big water gun if she showed it off before the game started, so she must have hidden it somewhere. God dang it. That goes so hard. I mean, brilliant moves by the kid. Like, it looks like most of our classmates were shot right after the game started. I wonder why. Only a few were still alive, trying to survive as long as they could by using the heavy construction equipment as a shield. Mion mercilessly shot at them from various angles to make them come out from behind the shield. She's enjoying this way too much.
そらそんなとこに隠れてないで出てきな
Bro, you are evil. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun were trying their best to resist her attack from behind their shield. It looked like they had no chance against her, but that actually wasn't true. After all, the two of them were only still alive because of all their experience in water gun battles. They survived the first few minutes of her assault, even though 99% of their classmates didn't, and they were still surviving at that very moment. Isn't this like a class of 20 people? Like, they're making it sound like there's like 100 people here. Mion, however, is also a battle-hardened soldier. She used the advantage of her big water tank and gradually but certainly drove them into a corner. It was only a matter of time until she broke them down.
ダメだ。あのマシンガンはずるいよ。
You think she cares about fair?
委員長の水が少なくなるまでなんとかしのごう。今は手も足も出ないよ。
They tried to hold out against her, but all they could do for now was to keep running behind cover as Mion strafed closer and closer to them. They wanted to use their 2 against 1 advantage, but it seemed like they wouldn't even get that chance. They just gotta pop out from opposite sides of the cover at the same time and go for a shot, you know? That's their best chance, I think. If they tried attacking relentlessly, one of them might get shot, and then the other would have no chance of winning. Well, I mean, one of them would definitely get shot if they pulled that gambit off, but it's better than both of them getting shot, right? So they grew more cautious, placing their bets on their final chance, but that caused their offense to wane. Yo! Not the cut-in. Of course, Mion saw through their plan. It was like a Persona-style cut-in. She was purposely provoking them so that they'd lose their patience and start attacking her recklessly. Mion circled around the construction equipment, and now she was standing with her back towards me. If I went up against her machine gun fair and square, I wouldn't stand a chance. So, attacking from behind would be the only way for me to defeat her. She's trying to bait you in, I bet. Even though she was in a defenseless position, there was some distance between us. I was still too far away, but it would still be better to attack her now than to take her head on. Don't hesitate, Keiichi. You won't have this chance again. I stepped out from my hiding place and ran as fast as I could towards her with 2 water guns in my hands. Instead of approaching slowly and silently, I screamed at the top of my lungs. What if she turns towards you? Maybe the boys will take her out. Maybe his hope's a distraction for the 3-on-1.
そこから来たか、ケイちゃん。
Mion seemed a little shocked by my surprise attack, but she immediately pulled herself together. She knew the advantages of her weapon. But she didn't shoot me just yet. She held back, luring me closer. She knows that range. Mion was well aware of how much water she had left. If she had the same kind of water gun as me, we would have had the same range capability. So it would have been down to our techniques to decide the winner. If she was fighting against one of her underclassmen, she could have defeated them easily. Mion immediately calculated her chance of winning against me and figured out that her only chance was to use the advantage of her water gun. She saw the eye of the tiger in me and recalculated her chances of winning in a split second. Really, I can admire how fast she does those things. I ran at top speed to shorten the distance between us. Our strength should have been equal. I had 2 water guns with full tanks, and she had a machine gun with a half-empty tank. We both waited for the perfect moment.
今日のケイちゃんの気迫には敬意を表するよ。
These pop-ins are funny.
今日のあんたには正面からぶつかり合って互角以上の勝率を弾き出せる自信がない。
I want to see Keiichi pop in. Yes!
残念だぜミオン。勝率の弾き方も鈍ったな。
That's kind of hard. That might be my thumbnail over the actual CG. This is so funny to me.
今日の俺に正面からぶつかり合ったらてめえの負けだ。
The moment we stepped within range, Mion and I pulled our triggers at the same time. Mion set her sights squarely on me while I was trying to shoot and run at the same time. Her shot would obviously be more accurate than mine. My shot of water flew towards nowhere. Mion didn't even need to duck. But Mion's shot made a beautiful arc straight towards my chest. I could see the line of water coming straight at me, but I was too unstable to dodge. Mion had no doubt that she got me.
気合だけではどうにもならない現実がこれだったね。
She's for sure about to get jumped by the boys.
やっぱりケイちゃんは最初に脱落だ。
やっぱり残念だぜミオン。今日のミオンのコンピュータは一手読みが足りないぜ。
The boys are gonna get her before the shot hits. That's what it's gonna be. And so it's not gonna count.
ほざくな。その体勢からかわす術はない。水の弾丸で撃ち抜かれろ。そしてどうして私の背後を沈黙して奪わず叫びながら襲う具を犯したかを呪うがいいよ。
What in the anime time stop? How do we have so much time for these words? Who busted out the world? You're really disappointing me today, Mion. You could have figured it out if you just spent one more second to think. You could have figured out the reason why I didn't creep up on you, but screamed as loud as I could instead. Mion noticed my surprise attack and turned around to face me. In other words, she turned her back on the opponent she was fighting earlier. Those opponents heard my scream and saw that she had turned her back on them.
なんだって。
Mion noticed her back was wet and cold. She finally understood that the underclassmen she was attacking just earlier had shown their fangs and attacked her from behind. I blocked her water shot with my arm, right before it hit my chest. The line of water was broken into droplets and splattered away.
そうだったか。被弾者の攻撃は被弾しても無効だ。
Yep. Oh, what a plan.
そいつに気づくのだいぶ遅かったぜ。
I mean, that's a hell of a gambit.
伏せろミオン。
Mion squatted down and covered her head. Oh, is he gonna... Oh, snap. Okay. Okay. He's gonna blast the boys. Or they're gonna blast him. I don't know. At least he didn't get dead last, though, no matter what happens here. Now it was me versus Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun. I said it right for once. Their reflexes weren't so bad. They knew well that I'd be their next target after Mion was gone. They didn't feel sorry at all for attacking me right after I just saved them from their predicament. That's the nature of the game. I can respect the cruelty and how quickly they shifted gears. They may one day be able to join our club if they keep refining their sense and skill.
次は前原さんだ。このまま撃ち殺すんだ。こっちは2人だもんね。負けるわけがない。
They were, however, one step behind me. It was already too late. For them, Mion was their first target and I was next. But I was different. My first target was them from the start. Oh, snap! He was already shooting at him. He wasn't shooting at Mion. Oh, tell me they're gonna get out of cover and immediately get blasted. I didn't even see Mion as my target to begin with, because I knew they'd take care of her. I was pointing my guns at them long before they moved their sights from Mion to me. It seemed like they noticed at the last moment that both my guns had been pointing at them from the beginning, which meant it was already too late for them. Bro's on one today. I jumped over Mion, rolled on the ground, and landed on my feet. I looked as elegant as an athlete who had just finished a perfect performance. I had a gun in each of my hands, and with those guns I shot them each in the middle of their chests.
早すぎる。
Bro's the quickest draw in the West.
僕たちが2人がかりで負けるなんて。
And he didn't even have a machine gun. Speaking of machine guns, you gotta take Mion's, take her gat, bro. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun fell to their knees in disappointment.
ケイちゃんがこれだけのことをやってのけるなんて。私も鈍ったってことかな。
She saw the beauty in that gambit. Mion wiped the dirt off her knees, looking frustrated.
別にミオンは鈍っちゃいなかったろ。
じゃあなんでおじさんが負けたわけよ。
そんなの決まってるじゃないか。
I twirled my guns on the tips of my fingers.
たまには勝たねえとカッコがつかねえからだよ。
What? There were only a few people left alive. Rena, Satoko, and myself. Ah, Rika's gone. Rena and Satoko were fighting fiercely. Were they evenly matched? No, Satoko was pushing her hard. Moving fast, she was driving Rena into a corner. Rena was usually gentle and slow, but today she was different. She was very serious today, and yet Satoko was still overwhelming her. She's a tough customer even without her tricky traps.
最初の威勢はどこへ行ってしまいましたのかしら。いい動きをするね。私も負けられないよ。
Maybe the plan is to run her out of water? Satoko kept moving around, piling on pressure in order to pin Rena down. She kept shooting, so her tank must have almost been empty, but her shots were still sharp and fast. I noticed a bucket near her feet, which was full of many water guns. Ah, okay. That makes things more difficult. I understood, seeing that. She had been taking guns from others who were already out of the game. In this battle, reloading bullets, water, was more crucial than the actual shooting. The hole that you put water into on these guns is rather small. To put water through it from a faucet takes time and requires a certain amount of skill. In a battle like this, it would almost be suicidal. I understand that well, so I'd been taking guns from the people I defeated, but I could only hold one in each hand. Satoko used a bucket to overcome the limit. Rena looked like she had only one water gun. I'd assumed she had two earlier, but she must have used a lot of water during her long battle with Satoko. It looked like she was trying to save her water for the right moment, but with Satoko's fierce attacks, it was obvious that it was only a matter of time before Rena was driven into a corner. However, Rena's also quite skilled. She only pretended to be driven into a corner, but she was actually luring Satoko to a place where she'd have the advantage. Yeah, that makes sense. Cold and calculated. There was a narrow, twisting path near the gymnasium warehouse behind the school building. With Rena's water levels running low, she'd want to turn things around with a single close-range shot. That narrow path was a perfect place for her to do that.
あれあれどうしたのかな。
Just more of these.
攻撃の手が鈍ってきたね。疲れてきた。お気遣いは嬉しいですけど、まだまだでしてよ。
I did not expect another one of these club scenes, but I kind of am glad now that we're in it. It's been so long since we've just kind of had fun in Higurashi like this, you know?
それよりそちらのお水は大丈夫ですの？さっきから全然打ち返してきませんわよ。ひょっとしてもう玉切れじゃございませんの？
Oh, is that the
そうだ
trap?
と思うならお顔を出してみたらどう？遠慮いたしましたよ。最後の一発を温存しているのは分かっていますわ。一発あれば十分だよ。
Okay.
体操服を濡らした気の毒だからね。額を打ってあげるね。まさかレナさんとこんなにもスリリングなやりとりができるなんて思いませんでしたわ。
The smack talk is crazy today.
でも最後の一発分の水量では大して勢いもないでしょうから、射程もほとんどないんじゃありません？
Sadako was right about that. Rena had just enough water to make one last shot. As the amount of water left in the tank dwindles, the range of shots you can make shortens. That makes the last shot the shortest and weakest of them all. Regardless of her absolutely disadvantageous situation, Rena didn't look frustrated. I could tell she had no intention to lose. It was almost like she didn't even see Satoko as a threat.
うまい位置に逃げ込みましたわね。私もさすがに慎重にならざるを得ませんわ。
Satoko seemed to understand how dangerous Rena's last shot was going to be better than I did, since she was the one actually fighting against her.
私、将棋はあまりやらないんですけれど、こういうのを詰将棋って言うんでございましょうね。
Satoko took out another gun with a full tank and shortened the distance between them slowly and carefully. A gun with a full tank doesn't only have a long range, it also has enough power to make shots more accurate. If they shoot at each other in a frontal attack, Satoko would have a 99% chance to win. Even so, Satoko was still afraid of Rena's last shot. Satoko shortened the distance even further, smiling as if unafraid, but I could tell she was actually full of fear. Satoko compared the situation to chess earlier, but it wasn't exactly the same. In chess, you can use some pieces to drive the opponent's king into a corner, but in this case, there were only Rena and Satoko. You can lose some of your pieces in order to achieve a win, but Satoko doesn't have any pieces other than herself. A king can't drive the other king into a corner alone. That's called a stalemate. That's why while at first glance it looks like Satoko has the absolute advantage, they're actually on equal footing.
さあ参りますわよ。このままチャイムを待つなんて私たちらしくありませんわ。そうだね。勝負しよう。
That's strange, I thought. Rena wouldn't have to move just on a dare from Satoko. What kind of plan did she have? You know, she's got something planned. Maybe she's not quite down to her last shot. Maybe I don't know, maybe there's more than in the tank than she's alluding to, so she could win like a head-on duel. I don't know. Ren had been hiding behind cover for a while, but she came out without hesitation. I noticed something right away. Ren had a different gun. Satoko seemed to notice it as well.
ここには玉切れになったら逃げ込もうと考えててね。あらかじめ一丁拾って隠してあったの。
Damn, she's good. And using a trap at the last moment for a come-from-behind victory, it was as though she was taking Satoko's best skill from her and firing it right back. Satoko no longer had any advantages now that both of them were pointing their guns at each other with full tanks. But she still looked confident. What was going on? Did she have some kind of plan too?
その一丁は私にとっても大切な一丁でしたのよ。どうしてかな。だってその一丁がなかったらレナさんはさっきの銃のまま一撃逆転を狙い続けてこうして私の前に姿を現したりしませんもの。
At that moment, lightning ran through my brain and I instantly understood the situation. Of course! Rena was in a disadvantageous situation earlier, but it was actually the same for Satoko, since she didn't have a chance to make her shot while Rena was in hiding. Rena had remained cautious in order to hit her with the last shot, and that made it difficult for Satoko to attack her. However, what if? Rena didn't need to take the last shot for a come-from-behind victory. No, I said it wrong. What if Rena got a new gun with a full tank? She'd stop hiding and come out to fight against Satoko. Right?
つまりレナさんがここを目指しながら逃げてその銃を拾うことは最初から読んでいましたってことですのよ。
No, say it ain't so. Let Satoko talk crap, Rena. Is she like emptied or something? You don't have to listen to her, just shoot her right now. Rena thought the same thing. She shot at Satoko without any hesitation. Is there no water? But she frowned in confusion a moment after. Oh no! What was going on? She couldn't shoot? Was her water gun broken? Or did somebody break it?
水鉄砲なんてちょっと砂粒を入れて空打ちすればすぐに詰まっちゃうんですのよ。 私が切り札をここに一丁持ってることを先に読んで細工したってわけだね。
私いつも言ってました。トラップは最後の最後でほんの一つささやかに。これが究極の美徳でございましてよ。
When it comes to traps, Satoko remained a notch above Rena after all. I mean, that makes sense. I couldn't believe Satoko figured out Rena's plan in advance and set a trap to counter it. Rena, you made a big mistake. You should have kept the old gun with you. You could have at least made that last shot. But it's too late now for you to pick it up again. Rena was in a worse situation than she was before. She couldn't even take another shot.
さーて観念なさいませ。さっきレナさんは私の額を打つとか言われましたわね。
She's not doing that.
私が逆に額を打って差し上げましたよ。
Okay. Satoko slowly narrowed her distance again and pointed the muzzle at Rena's forehead. Is she like... Is Rena... Is she secretly holding on to the other water gun still or something? Rena still didn't look like she'd given up. She still thought the game was undecided.
さとこちゃんもまだまだ甘いね。
なんですって？
トラップで相手を仕留めたならね、さとこちゃんが余裕を見せるのは勝者の権利だと思う。
Are we on some Death Note stuff? Like, I knew you'd know, so I countered your counter to my counter.
だけどね、今のさとこちゃんは私を絡め取っただけで仕留めたわけじゃない。余裕を見せるのはまだまだ早い段階だとは思わない？
She's got something up her sleeve, I bet.
何を言い出すかと思えば、今から仕留めるから同じことですわ。
私が逆の立場なら脳書きなんか言わずにさっさと撃つ。じゃないと負けるから。
負ける？誰が？あら、その壊れた水鉄砲でどうやって戦うおつもりで？
被弾の定義、水鉄砲というこの容器から出た水が最初に触れたものが標的であったとき、被弾とする。
So how's your plan to use that rule?
それが一体何だって言うんですの？
Are you gonna throw the gun or something? When I heard her saying that, I started running. My target was Rena. Satoko was already dead to me. Why? She's going to be shot by Rena within a second.
レナさんが何を言ってるのか、私さっぱりでしたよ。その壊れた水鉄砲で何ができるおつもりだか。
水鉄砲の中に水があれば戦えるんだよ。わかんないかな？
Rena raised her broken water gun up high and smashed its handle on the wall of the school building as hard as she could. What? The plastic broke easily and water flowed out of
水
it.
鉄砲から出た水が当たればいいんだよ。水鉄砲のどこから出たかは問題にしてない。
What? Rena was right. She just saved herself by thinking it through. If she was using a real gun, bullets would only come out from one end of the gun. But this was a water gun. She could make her bullets, water in this case, come out from any place, not just the barrel of the gun. Satoko finally realized that she was standing defenselessly in front of Rena. Satoko's trap was successful, but she overestimated its effect. She should have just shot Rena without hesitation before Rena noticed her new water gun was jammed. She was going to fail because she had grown overconfident of her victory. A second before Satoko pulled the trigger, Rena swung her water gun as if slashing Satoko with a sword. Satoko fired her bullets, but it was too late. A second before Rena would be shot down, a blade of water hit Satoko in the face. No, not hit, it cut her face open.
まだまだ爪が甘かったね。
Got him.
この私が。
Rena ran towards Satoko, who was standing still in shock, and took her water gun. She's not giving up just yet. Rena knew I was her last target and that I was running towards her. Situational awareness. Rena, using her superior mobility, began to duck and weave. We were evenly matched. Neither of us neglected to make any effort possible to take advantage of the situation. I can't help but feel like Rika's somehow going to be alive, and whoever wins this is just going to get blasted by Rika.
最後には一騎打ちになると思ってたよ。やっぱりこうでなくっちゃね。
見直したぜ。とんでもない根性を見せてくれるじゃないか。
見直したより惚れ直したの方が嬉しいかな。
What? You're just saying it outright. Okay, sure.
負けてくれたらそれでもいいぜ。
ごめんだね。
We circled around the construction equipment trying to take shots at each other. We were both sweating like crazy, but I didn't feel tired. Big drops of sweat tickled as they ran down my body. You're going crazy, good lord. Rapid bursts of water flew across both of our paths. Neither of us had the advantage or disadvantage. I didn't feel elated that I might win or frustrated that I might lose. I was just enjoying this battle with Rena. It was like a dance that I couldn't dance alone. A dance that I could only dance with an opponent.
本気のレナはやっぱり冴えるね。見てるだけで震えがくるよ。
そのレナさんと互角に渡り合うなんてケイチさんもやりますわね。どちらが勝つか全然予想がつきませんです。
In fact, none of the observers could tell who was going to win. Neither could we. We had no idea who was going to win. We had no idea when this battle would end. I didn't know why, but it was great fun just to fight against Rena, and I didn't even care whether I won or lost. In fact, I never even wanted it to end. As we fired at each other, both of our tanks emptied, shortening our range. Inevitably, it became more and more like a melee than a gun battle. We fired our water guns as if trying to cut each other with blades of water, swinging the gun like a sword. We both came up with the idea to swing the gun hard to generate centrifugal force in order to increase the range of our attacks. I dived to duck her shot. I rolled on the ground and landed on my feet. I ducked her shot again and swung my gun like a sword. I mean, there comes a point where, like, you're out of water, right? Like, they gotta be, like, very nearly out. Who could have imagined that our club's water gun battle would turn into one-on-one close combat like this? Absolutely nobody.
ああ、やっぱりレナもそう思うか。
じゃあケイチ君もそう思うんだ。
We're both breathing hard, calculating the time we needed to take a closer step. And then we both grinned wickedly at each other.
やり合うのが楽しくてならねえぜ。決着がつくことすら興ざめするくらいにな。
負けても恨まないでね。
Dang.
ああ、恨まない。この勝負を終わらせた自分の不甲斐なさを恨んでやるぜ。だがそいつを恨むのはどうやらレナの方になりそうだな。
どうかな。ケイチ君、足が藁だよ。
くそったれー。
Shit, you're getting tired, bro. I can tell.
すごい。
The awe on their face.
なんだかものすごくかっこいい。
Who are we betting on winning? I'm gonna give it to Rena, I think.
前原さん、頑張れー。龍河さん、しっかりー。
I became relaxed enough to enjoy the battle and finally realized that many of our classmates were watching our one-on-one fight. I barely had any water left. I would have to make the next shot count or I was done for. It seemed like Rena was in the same situation too.
泣いても笑っても水が有限なのが惜しいぜ。
限りがあるから美しい。花も一緒だよ。
I mean, what a statement by Rena there. Guess she's not completely wrong.
なるほどな。そういう見方もあるか。
本当に楽しかった。でもこれで終わりだね。
だな。無粋かもしれんが勝って決着させてもらうぜ。
上等だよケイチ君。
負けて泣くなよ。
勝負。
乗ったー。
You're gonna call a draw or something?
どっちが勝ったんですの？
The cries of the cicadas echoed in the quiet schoolyard. They sounded like the hand of a watch ticking away the seconds. Neither one of us moved. We took our final shots and now stood motionless. It looked like one of those duels in Western movies.
どっちが先に？わかんない。全然見えなかった。
I feel like we're gonna have to let Mion be the judge or else we're gonna call it a draw. Our classmates broke the silence first. They finally realized that our intensely beautiful one-on-one battle was over.
委員長、判定は？
Mion, in turn, realized that she had to deliver a verdict to end the game. She was just as stunned as the others, and it took her a moment to recover. Mion was taking time to render her verdict. She doesn't even know. In fact, Rena and I didn't know who won either. My last shot flew fast and splashed sideways as if a blade had cut her chest. I knew that for sure. But at the same moment, Rena's shot hit me in the shoulder. Whoever shot the other first wins. But we didn't know if it was me or her. That's why we stood motionless, waiting for the verdict to be delivered.
リカには見えまして？僕にだってわかるわけないのです。
No one knows.
委員長、どっちの勝ちなの？
Everybody held their breath, waiting for Mion to call it. Ren and I kept staring at each other. The spectators were the only ones who were interested in who the winner was. To us, it wasn't that important. We had a great battle. We had both really wanted to do better than the other. We both wanted to call it a tie. For this great battle, settling for a tie would be the best and most proper option. In other words, this one-on-one fight wasn't a battle to decide the winner. It seems like everybody is thinking the same way. We're just gonna call it a tie?
判定が出ないと二人とも動けませんです。
Mion hates to settle for a tie because she loves to draw a line between superiors and inferiors. She tends to settle for a tie when deciding who is the loser because it's more fun to have as many people as possible suffer the punishment. But she's never settled for a tie between winners before. Mion holds a special feeling towards the meaning of being number one. Everybody continued holding their breath, awaiting her verdict. Please make it a tie. Everybody wished for that in their hearts. Mion was hesitating to make the decision. She could have chosen a winner more easily if one of us did even a little bit better than the other. But even if one of us did a little better than the other, I feel like nothing fits better than settling for a tie.
今日の二人は見事だったよ。
Mion finally started speaking.
ケイちゃんもレナもここしばらくの連敗に発奮し、最高の力を発揮してくれた。
Right.
その瞬発力は評価の肯定の段階を超えて、もはや美しいと呼べるまでに昇華されてたよ。私は二人の最高の戦いぶりに評価を惜しめない。
じゃあ決着はどうなるんですの？
快速の精神から1位を二人に認定するのは好ましくない。でも二人にはわずかの優劣もなく、どちらを膠着させるかの判断もとてもつかない。
So we're calling it a draw?
よって本日の戦いを預かり勝負とし、後日改めて決着をつけることといたしたい。
Okay. Interesting. I want to say maybe that's the junkyard scene, but like, I can't help but feel like it's something more serious than the club, you know? I expected she might settle for a tie, but I never thought she'd make us have another battle.
灰原さん、すごかったですよ。かっこよすぎます。竜宮さんにもしびれました。
They really were kind of going crazy there, huh?
なんかこう、まあ、見てるこっちまで熱くなるというか。
The classmates rushed towards us and praised us for showing them something that cool. Ren and I were finally released from the tension of battle and dropped to our knees. Yeah, they gotta be exhausted, bro.
残念。決着をつけ損なったね。
まあな、次の機会を楽しみにしようぜ。
肩を貸してほしいな。
先に言うな。俺が借りようと思ったのに。
We both smiled at each other. It was the first time we ever hit it off like this.
それはそうと。
うまいことやったよな。
うまいことって何がですの？みーちゃん、うまいこと言って今日の罰ゲームうやむやにする気だ。
ギク。
Exposed.
かっこつけときながら、保身第一ってあたりがミオンっぽい。逃げたぞ。図星かよ。わかりやすいやつだな。
She's like, wait, no, I'm good. The bell rang, a sign that class was over, while we all laughed at Mion. After that,
二人ともお疲れ様なのです。タオルをどうぞなのです。
Rika-chan held out a towel, a big smile on her face. However, Ren and I stepped back and pointed our water guns at her.
みー。
Neither of them think she actually got hit.
もうみんなにいっぱいいっぱい撃たれましたのです。もう撃たれてると言っても誰も信じてくれないのですよ。
Because that's something you would do. Rika-chan was soaking wet. Well, nobody believed her because she really could be that sneaky, pretending that she was hit in order to stay in the game.
普段が普段でございますものね。
Boy who cried wolf.
信じるというのが難しい相談でございましてよ。みー。
That's very true, though.
みんながいじめるのです。
What?
僕はもう一人ぼっちなのです。
I think in that spot it was completely justified.
段ボール箱の中でミーミー泣いて誰も拾ってくれないかわいそうな猫さんなのですよ。
What? That's an insane comparison.
ミーミ
Oh no. Boom. The sound came from Rena's head. I saw a circle of smoke coming out of it. Rena must have pictured Rika-chan meowing like a cat in a cardboard box.
リカちゃん捨ててあるよ、捨ててある。レナが拾うよ。お持ち帰り。
Classic. Ugh, ouch! Meep, meep. Boom. Rena, you're ruining how cool we looked earlier. Rena was back to her normal self and jumped on Rika-chan like a chameleon capturing its prey. Rika-chan struggles to get away.
はーい、皆さん早く教室に戻りなさい。
Now listen to Chie-sensei. Chie-sensei clapped her hands and yelled at us from the window of the teacher's
行
office.
こうぜみんな。
Everyone exchanged smiles and ran back to the classroom. So that was a nice fun scene. I don't think there was anything super important in it, right? But, just nice and fun. Interesting. Like I said, I didn't really think we'd get something like that again. I assumed we were at the point where the pacing was going to be like, like moving. Like, I feel like the pacing in Chapter 5 was, like, I don't know, like, the very first chapter within Chapter 5 felt a lot faster than that. Like the Shion's escape, right? There's a lot more going on, if that makes sense. To be clear, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Like I said, it was fun seeing them like do that again. It kind of sets their vibe back. Maybe we're gonna get a more chill chapter for at least a little while, right? I assume things are gonna become crazy again at some point, right? It would be kind of crazy if we just got a literal filler arc. That would be kind of crazy. I assume that's not the case. Surely not. But, let's just go ahead and look at this tip. I don't think there's really much to talk about with this chapter, so we're just going to probably do the tip and then keep going. Well, we can talk maybe about the intro a little, so maybe we'll talk a little bit after the tip. Pleasant weather. That's the name of the tip. One reason I like my house is because it has good ventilation. As long as there's a nice breeze, I don't have to rely on a fan to keep me cool. I can take down my futon from the windowsill, place my cushion near the open window, and enjoy the cool breeze of the evening. According to my page-a-day calendar, it's June 1983 today. Yeah, it's just June 1983. We're not going to say the date. That would have been helpful for me. But that isn't, I mean, pretty obvious. I was going to say that's interesting, but it's pretty obvious that we're in 1983, and they already mentioned it being June, so there wasn't really any other time it could be. So unless we get like an exact date, because the 19th is the day of the Watanagashi. I've said like a million reasons why I remember that it's the 19th, but I'll say it again. That's my birthday, June 19th, right? Pretty easy to remember in that case, right? So if they give us a date and it's near that, that's kind of relevant. Maybe we're like early in June, even like before any of the chapters have started yet. Maybe they kind of. Well, I mentioned earlier, like, oh, when they played, like, tag, so I was thinking of the zombie tag game. It could have just been a different game of tag. Maybe we're just before any of the chapters are set yet, right? Let's just keep moving. June 1983. While it was still June, it seemed like a summer skipped the rainy season and was already coming around the corner. This was very abnormal, apparently. Even if it was abnormal weather that only comes around once in 100 years, if it was supposed to come in June of 1983, then it wasn't so much of a big deal. It was inevitable. On the other hand, the sudden evening shower on the way home from school was more unpredictable than anything else. Every day had been in perfect harmony, as if it was all carefully planned. I felt like something good was going to happen this year. How should I put it? It's like the feeling I get when I roll a 6 on the first throw of a board game and start off with a huge lead. When it comes to a die, the more you roll it, the more the total averages out. We actually roll a die many times every day of our lives. So it's not like one stroke of luck is really a big deal to be overly happy with. If I roll a 6 on my first throw and a 1 on the next throw, the total is 7. If you believe in fate, you might say there's a higher possibility of a 1 to come up on the die. But you can never actually tell what number you will roll. That's what fate is all about. You might roll a 6 again. The chance of rolling a 6 twice in a row is 1 out of 36. But if you look at each throw one by one, there's only a 1/6 chance of that miracle. That's, actually, like, how the math works, too. Like, actually. right? Like, once a result has happened once, the chances don't change, right? If you've already rolled a 1 in 6 once, your chance to roll it a second time isn't a 1 in 36, it's still a 1 in 6. The glass wind chime Satoko put up yesterday was making a refreshing sound. Was that from the perspective of Rika? It would explain the kind of weather part of the tip. Actually, this being from the perspective of Rika makes a lot of sense, I think. Let's go through this again. June 1983. This is very abnormal, apparently. If it was meant to be, it's not a big deal, it's inevitable. But still, the unpredictable happens. Felt like something good was going to happen this year. It's like she already rolled that 6. Starts with a huge lead. Maybe maybe this is a time loop that's off to a good start. I don't know. That's my best guess right now. Maybe Rika's hopeful that she's getting somewhere. All this talk about fortune and fate definitely makes me think Rika. Roll a die many times every day of our lives. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Like, just whether good fortune or bad, you know, we all something, you know, there's some kind of fortune we have to contend with most days, you know. Talking about fate and how if she started with a 6, she might roll a 6 again. Like, maybe she got a good start and maybe it'll just keep going, you know? So it seems to me kind of like Rika talking about, like, fate and how... Like I said, to me it almost reads like maybe we're in a timeline that's off to a good start. And she's like, look, maybe if things are off to a good start, some people who believe in fate think, you know, we're going to roll bad now, right? Things are going to go bad, but at the end of the day, it's still the same chance. It's still a 1 in 6 chance, right? Things could go anyway at this point, right? It's kind of how it reads to me, right? Like, maybe that's wrong. But either way, I think it's an interesting concept, even just assuming that's what Rika believes in general, even assuming that isn't, like, telling us what's going on in this route, right? Even if we just assume it's Rika's idea of fate is basically that it's not, like... Or, like, you know, of, like, fortune. It's not like fate. If you get a 6, you're not doomed to a 1, right? Just like if you get a 1, you're not guaranteed a 6, right? And so things can just play out in any number of ways, right? No matter what point you're at. It's kind of an interesting perspective into Rika, and that kind of makes sense. If you think about how many time loops she's potentially gone through, maybe some of them started off like, okay, maybe something's going on here. Boom. No, wrong. Right? Maybe some of them went really good for a while and then went wrong. Maybe some of them were just bad from the start. I assume none of them ended up being that good, or we wouldn't still be looping. Well, I'm pretty sure we're looping. I mean, I could literally be wrong about that, and that'd be kind of funny, but it's one of those things I'm very confident in. I think it makes a lot of sense that we're time looping. Like, way too much sense to me, in fact. I think it's the easiest explanation for the chapter format of the game, frankly, is that it's like time looping. I mean, it could be other time shenanigans, but I think time loops make the most sense to me. You know, so I'm just gonna stick with that. Okay, so there's a lot of interesting potential setup in this chapter that was kind of buried, or not buried, on tail ends of the fun water fight scene, right? Like I said, that was a fun scene. I don't think it's likely that it's super relevant. Maybe besides the one line where it's like, I hope the last one I fight is you, right? And obviously that is literally what happened in the fight. And it was probably about the fight, but for some reason that line, like, ticked that little box in my head. I'm like, this feels like foreshadowing, right? Like, there's going to end up being some big conflict, right? And then it's going to end up Rena and Keiichi, like, are the last, I don't know if that makes, like, last opponents, if that makes sense. I don't know what kind of conflict would bring us to that point, really. But that's just in my head what I'm thinking. That's interesting. So yeah, that was maybe the only relevant part of the water pistol scene to me. Maybe there's more buried in there. And maybe there was nothing even to what I'm seeing. Maybe there was literally nothing there, and that was just a fun scene that was kind of filler. Like I said, not what I particularly expected, or truthfully, not what I particularly wanted out of this point in the game. But I do still enjoy those fun scenes. So like I said, ultimately I didn't mind it. Just really, I was wanting it to come in like guns blazing, like some crazy scenario. But they do kind of start with an intriguing setup with that, like the junkyard scene, the scrapyard, right? Where Rena is like I said, she's kind of setting up her ideals, right? Like, she's fighting for her happiness and how she clearly did something that is maybe like taboo or considered wrong. And the group is like, she's talking about it with the group, and she's like, look, like, I'm not really like sorry about it. That's what I felt like that's what I had to do, right? And like I said, she talked about her ideals and how she believed that when bad fortune is happening, you have to fight your way out, right? Like, you're not just gonna get out with assistance or, you know, some fortune, right? It's a kind of a chain reaction. You got to fight your way out. And so I'm guessing she did something drastic to fight her way out. And so what's that's going to be, we don't know. And it kind of takes a little curtsy and starts to tell this story. And I guess that water gun fight is where she starts, which is interesting. Maybe that somehow plays into things like later. Maybe it's kind of a setup with the rematch. Maybe that's what's going on there. Anyway, she starts to tell this story, and I assume it's going to be kind of like we start there, then we build our way back there, and then maybe even go past that point, right? See the consequences of whatever she did, right? So that ought to be interesting. But then right there at the end, too, we kind of see Rika's perspective on fortune, which is actually very different now that I think about it. And that's what's interesting, right? Whereas Rena's perspective is that it's a chain reaction. If you have bad fortune once, you got to scrap and claw your way out, right? Because you're just going to keep getting this bad fortune. Whereas who I think is Rika is like, she was talking the opposite way, right? If you roll a 6, you're not guaranteed to roll a 1, right? You could just roll a 6 again. To me, that thing makes me think she believes in a lot of ways fortune is just random, right? Not completely in your control. You can roll a 1 and then a 1 and again, or a 1 again and just keep going like that. Or you can roll a 1 and then a 6, right? A 6 or a 1, right? Doesn't necessarily believe in fate one way or the other is what it seemed like to me. I don't want to necessarily say she doesn't believe in fate, because she, of everybody right now, probably has a reason to believe in fate a little bit. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe the fact that she doesn't believe fate like that is why she thinks, like, if she is, and this is a big assumption, to be clear, but it's one I feel very confident in, so I'm going to speak like it's true. If she is fighting to reach that point where she lives, right? And she's time looping and trying to gradually find that one timeline, right? Maybe that means she just doesn't believe in fate. She's like, there is one out there where I will be fine, my friends will be fine, and we'll be happy together, right? Although, that means she is kind of fighting for it, kind of like Rena's beliefs, but their core beliefs of how fortune works seem a little different. I think that's kind of interesting. I feel like this is more connected to that intro than I initially realized. They definitely feel connected. But I say we just go ahead and move on to the next chapter. Maybe we'll start to get the real story set up for the chapter rather than the for fun scene that maybe ties into the plot. Like, it wouldn't shock me if that ties into the plot, but like, I imagine that's not going to be the whole plot and that there will be more important stuff than that. So let's just let's get a move on. Subchapter 2. I awoke from my dream, still feeling excited. I must have had a very happy dream. I already forgot what it was about. It felt as if there was a switch that automatically made me forget my dreams when I opened my eyes. All I could remember is that it was a happy dream. I looked at the ceiling and enjoyed the happy feeling for a while. It was Sunday today. Outside the window I could hear morning birdsong that sounded totally different from what I heard on weekdays. The morning birdsong on weekdays sounds like they're in a rush, as if they're telling me to hurry to school. But on Sunday, it's different. I could tell that the birds are singing simply because they want to tell everybody how great a morning it is. I even felt like the birds that sing on weekdays must be different birds from the ones that sing on Sunday. I wonder if there really are birds that only sing on Sunday. It sounds like a very luxurious job for some reason. It's a waste of time. It's a waste to listen to such a valuable birdsong when you're not quite awake. As I fully awaken, my normal, crude personality takes over, and I start feeling stupid to even think that there might be birds that sing only on Sunday. Yeah, fair. As I yawned and stretched, my blood started circulating through my entire body. It felt good. I turned over and looked at the clock, which says it's past 10 a.m. I used to go to my cram school on Sunday at 10 a.m. That was before I moved to Hinamizawa. My parents made me go to several cram schools back then. I remember that the one I had to go to on the first and the third Sundays of the month was the hardest one of all, because I had to change trains several times to get there. I was never allowed to sleep in until late back then. My mom always woke me up early so that I didn't miss any classes. That's probably why I've always dreamed of being able to wake up whenever I wanted on a Sunday. Needless to say, I don't feel that way anymore now that I moved to Hinamizawa. After all, I can always sleep till noon on Sunday now. My life has changed completely since I moved here. Before, I used to think living in the countryside would be really inconvenient. To be honest, I wasn't even interested in living here. But it was only the first few days that I felt that way. Now I don't feel attached to life in the city or its conveniences. When I think about what part of my life in Hinamizawa I'm the most attached to, I'd have to say it's probably my friends. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's usually how it is in small towns. That's been my experience. Right? There's a lot of towns I'm like, I could live without the town itself. But the people there I loved, right? Like, if you took the people from a lot of these places and transplanted them somewhere I liked more, that would be ideal for me, you know? I'm not saying necessarily that's true of Keiichi, that he would, necessarily, that he dislikes Hinamizawa or would be totally cool moving out if there were people there, but just, I feel like that's usually true. The best part is the people there. I guess the reason why I'm being so sentimental is probably because I had so much fun yesterday in the water gun fight with all of my classmates. Despite my age, I got so into it and had so much fun. I bet the kids in the city wouldn't be able to play like that. I mean, they couldn't. No, I should say they wouldn't even want to in the first place. They wouldn't even realize how exciting a simple water gun fight could be. I went downstairs and saw my parents watching a serious TV program, arguing about the topic together.
だいたい日本の電話料金は高すぎるんだ。国が電話事業を独占してるからこういうことになるんだ。
でも民間企業ってのは営利団体なのよ。慈善団体なわけじゃないんだし、全国一律のサービスを本当に維持できるわけ？
I was hoping they'd talk a little longer there. The experts on TV were arguing about the same thing. Seems like there's a possibility the telephone service will get privatized. I'm too young to understand how privatization could make things better. But I can easily assume that people will start talking about privatizing the postal services in the near future too. My parents were arguing about the topic fiercely, but they got along very well. Let's put it this way, they got along well and that's why they argue. I don't remember seeing them get along this well when we were living in the city. This is probably one of the things that got better since we moved to Hinamizawa. A cold relationship between parents doesn't bring any benefits to their kids.
あらケイチ、日曜にしては早いわね。朝ごはん食べる？
今日はいらない。あと今日は外で食べるから昼飯もいらないや。
なんだ、友達と一緒か。
Who else?
圭一がよく話す部活というやつか？
いや、今日は部活じゃない。昨日の罰ゲームというか、なんというか。
Oh, what's Mia's punishment gonna be? Someone rang the doorbell. I looked at the clock and noticed it's time to meet Rena. I guess I spent too much time enjoying waking up late. Excuse me. I ran upstairs to get a change of clothes. I quickly changed and ran to the front door. Rena was chatting with my parents. I always feel uncomfortable when my parents talk to my friends. I'm afraid they'll say something embarrassing about me. If they told Rena that I went to bed till I was X years old or something, that I wet my bed, not went my bed, Did I say wet my bed in the first? I don't know. If they told Rena that I wet my bed till I was X years old or something, she wouldn't wait until Monday to tell everybody in my school, or maybe everybody in Hinamizawa.
ようレナ、おはよう。待たせて悪い悪い。
As a parent, if you tell your child's friend that, you're evil. And you know it. And you know it too.
ケイチくん
Almost no matter the context, that's evil. Ren and my parents looked at me and laughed. I said good morning and they laughed. I guess I was too late. My parents must have already told Rena some embarrassing secrets about me. I didn't want my parents to tell her anything else, so I put on my shoes in a rush and pushed Rena out of the house. My parents waved at us, smiling.
いってらっしゃい。レナちゃん、ケイチをよろしくお願いね。
はい、おばさま。ケイチくんはレナがちゃんと面倒を見ますから。
何の面倒だか知らんが、見んでいい見んで。
I dragged Rena away from the house, and we were on our way. We rode our bicycles to the town of Okanamiya. It's a long way away. It's an easy ride to the town because it's mostly downhill, but needless to say, it's a hard ride on the way back. I felt like Rena was giggling whenever she looked at me. I badly wanted to know what kind of embarrassing information my parents had fed her before I came downstairs. I tried to give her a new subject to talk about in order to get whatever she heard from my parents out of her mind.
レナって何気にうちの親と仲いいよな。
仲いいよ。よくお話しするもん。
Thank you. That narrows it down.
よくお話っていつしてるよ。俺は見かけたことないぞ。
おばさまとはよくお買い物の時に会うかな。
I guess that makes sense.
特売日とかポイントセールの日なんかはよく会うね。
We got a savvy mother in this household.
ああ、確かにおふくろは特売日とかまめにチェックしてるな。冷蔵庫のとこに磁石でいろいろとメモが貼ってあってさ、どこそこで何がいつ安いなんてのが書いてあるのを見かけるよ。
それでね、今夜は何にしましょうねって話をしながら一緒に買い物するの。
It's interesting. I didn't know they were that close. I
カ
mean,
レールーが特売だから今夜はカレーにしようかななんて話になると、じゃあうちもなんて感じで。
honestly, if you read chapter 1, it makes sense that they talked at least a little bit. Because Keiichi's mom seemed to really like Rena, but like, I didn't really think about the fact that they met in public a decent amount. I don't know, for some reason in my eyes, like, the Maibaras were always like hermits, like rarely ever leaving the house and never integrated into Hinamizawa, but I guess it's not really completely true.
そういえば一昨日はカレーだったな。じゃあレナのとこもカレーだったわけか？
おとといはポークカレーだったでしょ。豚肉が安かったから一緒に買ったの。だからね、私の家でもカレーを食べながら、今頃ケイチくんも同じカレーを食べてるんだろうなって思ってた。
So she knows what I'm eating for dinner almost every day. It didn't bother me, but I did kind of feel embarrassed. Maybe that's how Rena knew in chapter 1 that his parents weren't home. I hadn't seen them at the store, right? Like, maybe it was a day that normally the mom would have been there. I don't know. Could make sense.
おじさまとはお買い物の時に一緒に会うことが多いかな。ケイチくんのおじさまとおばさま、本当に仲良しなんだね。
そういえばよく一緒に買い物に行くな。確かにいい年して仲はいい方だと思う。
やっぱり両親の仲がいいのはとても大事なことだと思うよ。お買い物にも一緒だなんて、なんだか素敵で羨ましいな。
なんだかさっきから俺の親の話ばかりで恥ずかしいぞ。レナのとこはどうだよ。
That's a good question, actually.
仲いいか？
仲いいよ。いつもべったりしてる。だからね、レナに居場所がない。
That's one way to put it. Her parents are a lovey-dovey couple, huh? I've never met Rena's mother, but I imagine she's just like Rena. I could easily imagine her mother going crazy about the spot her husband missed when shaving, because it looks so cute to her, like sesame seeds on white rice. That's crazy. That is crazy. She must love to touch her husband's chubby stomach because it feels so soft. Did you just call him fat? That's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. It was funny how easily I can imagine her mother doing those things. No, that's true though.
突然笑い出すなんて、何 何かな
Bro is cracking up. What if this is when, like, they save Mion, right? That'd be kind of interesting.
レナの家のおばさんがどんな人かものすごい気になるぞ。
What day was that? I feel like for some reason I had determined in the timeline that was a day that, like, we had seen in the plot, like, when he was, like, coming home or going to the toy store, maybe? I mean, it kind of would have to be, right? That's the only day, like, if it was a day in chapter 2 that we had seen, kind of had to be that day, right? That's what I'm thinking, right? Because that was, like, literally the first day. It couldn't have been earlier than that, if it was something we saw. Anyways, it'd be kind of interesting if we saw that from Keiichi's perspective, but I don't think there was any indication that Rena was there, so probably not. I just saw that same street, you know, and the motorcycle. It was a thought that popped in my head. Yeah. What does she have to say about her mother?
俺も今度レナのおばさんに会ってみることにするぜ。
I'm gonna shut that down.
レナだって俺のおふくろと話をしてるじゃないかよ。ならおあいこだろ。
はうだって圭一くんなんかがあってもいいことないよ。全然立派な人じゃないし。
会う前からかなり予想はついてるんだけどな。ズバリレナにそっくりだろ。
そんなことない。全然似てないよ。
その過剰な反応が雄弁に答えを物語ってるぞ。
We do a little bit of teasing.
とにかくレナのおばさんに興味が出たぜ。今度ご挨拶に伺うからな。覚悟してやがれ。
はうそんなのダメ。圭一くんがレナの家に来たらレナ怒るよ。すっごい怒る。
普段お宅のお嬢さんに大変お世話になっております。いやお嬢さんと真剣なお付き合いをさせてもらってるものですくらいの方が面白いかもしれないな。
Yo, you cannot just casually say that to Rena. That's messed up. You know how Rena gets.
はうもしうちに来たらみーちゃんたちに圭一くんのちっちゃい頃の話をしちゃおうかな。
Ooh, fighting fire with fire.
ちっちゃい頃とは具体的にはいくつの頃のエピソードだ。
レナがおばさまに聞いたのは4つの時の話と6つの時の滑り台の話とあと
すみませんでしたレナさん。レナさんの目の黒いうちは竜宮家の半径100メートルには絶対近寄らないようにするっす。
Dang, that bad? He knows what they are. Bro heard 6.
ありがとう。
Slide? Oh no. 4? Oh no, I know what that one is. Damn it, Mom. I'll remember this. We arrived at the station. The place we were going today is right near there. It's a restaurant called Angel Mort. We were meeting up with the others there. Classic. Gonna get an Angel Mort scene too? We're really back in the question arcs. I was surprised when I saw the restaurant. It's usually a normal and quiet restaurant, but today there were many people in front of it. They didn't look like they were waiting in line to get inside. It looked more like they were just loitering around. They should just line up and go inside like normal people.
うわー、なんだよこれ。すっげえ人だな。
今日はイベントデーだからね。
Right. The dessert? Or is it something
こ
different?
の日のためにすっごい遠くから来てる人たちも大勢いるんだって。
There's a flag saying Dessert Festa in front of the restaurant. Okay, so it is that. Interesting. So to me, I mean, this was already pretty obvious, but it's not Chapter 2. Right? A shocker, right? It's not Chapter 2, guys. Who could have seen this coming? We don't really see anything like this happen in 1 or 3. In fact, in Chapter 1, it seems like Keiichi explicitly had, like, never been here before. I don't know exactly how the dates line up between the chapters, so I don't know, maybe Chapter 1 starts before Chapter 2, right? And that we see his first time going to Angel Mort. And then in Chapter 2, it's at like a later date, and that's when the Dessert Festival is. The Dessert Festa. and it's happening here, but it was like a blank spot in chapter 1, but that's just when chapter 2 is happening. I don't know if that, I hope that makes sense, right? Basically, I don't know, like, the timelines of when exactly, like, the dates of events were in each chapter, right? If I was a little more meticulous about that, I could probably figure out exactly where we're at. Maybe not probably. There's a chance I could figure out where we're at right now, right? But anyways, let's move on. And that's assuming it's on the same date in each route, to be clear. Alright. I heard that Angel Mort holds events like this several times a year, and a lot of people come to attend from all over.
今日のデザートフェスタはね、抽選に当たってチケットがもらえた人しか入店できないの。
But we've got us a little Sonozaki friend who can get us tickets, huh?
でね、1枚のチケットで4人まで入場できることになっててね。
なるほどな。チケット持ってる友人が来るのをこうして店の前で待ってるわけか。
No, they're waiting to beg people who have tickets and don't have 4 people to bring them with them.
ちょっと違うかな。チケットの人にはね、たまに4人未満で来る人もいるの。
つまりなんだ、落選者たちがチケット当選者のおこぼれに預かろうとこうして群がってるってわけなのか。
At that time, the crowd of people roared in excitement. What was going on?
こいつチケット持っているでござるよ。チケットは4人まで入れるのに1人で入ろうなんておこがましいにゃりん。残り3人の枠にぜひ加えてくださいにゃ。
僕を仲間に加えてくれたらエンジェルモートトレカのレアカードを申請するよ。
おいらならフロントフィールドの夏コミ新刊を限定本付きで。
日暮ベータ版世界モード搭載版で譲って。
What? What kind of outfit changes are we talking here? I have a feeling it's nothing good. Well, nothing that I view as good, right? I'm sure there's someone out there who would view that as good.
G 氏の魔改造フィギュアでなんとか。俺はこのお米券でどうだ。
Bro's just shelling out cash.
この愚か者。
RMT, was that real money transaction?
よくわからん騒ぎになっとるぞ。
That's my guess.
このお店のコアなファンはちょっと怖いからね。
Yeah.
ところで俺たちのチケットってのはどうなってるんだ。第一、俺たちメンバーって5人組だろ。チケットの定員じゃ。
ほら、このお店みーちゃんの親類のお店だからね。
ミオンって時々すげえよな。
They cheating. They're cheating the system. Rena makes a fist and gets all fired up.
じゃあ行こう。一気に駆け抜けるからね。
それが最良の策みたいだな。よし。
We nodded at each other. Since we were a group of 2 at present, it looked like we had 2 more seats to share. Those people might try mobbing us in order to get a share. We crouched down, getting ready to run. The crowd of people seemed to notice us.
あの二人強行突破を試みるつもりにゃりん。
It was a valiant effort.
しかも女子と二人きりでボックスシートを埋めようとは不届き千万。
They're not
一
gonna
緒
like
に
that.
座ってラブラブな空気を打ち砕いてやるでござる。
Jesus, so spiteful.
最後の一発まで抵抗しろ。ゲルマンの鉄の意志を見せてやるのだ。
Of what? The Germans? Damn, they were gonna tackle us. They do whatever it took to stop us from getting inside the restaurant.
今日はみーちゃんたちみんなの罰ゲームの日。私たちがお店に入れなかったら昨日の勝利が無意味になっちゃう。
それだけは認められねえな。俺たちがベストを尽くして得た勝利だ。だからミオンたちの罰ゲームを見届けるのは権利である。
義務でもあるもんね。
Oh my god.
とかっこよく決めたところで下心丸出しなんだけどな。
はあ、さとこちゃんやりかちゃんどんな格好か
Oh,
な。
are they all serving? Are they all gonna be in the outfits or something? Oh lord.
お持ち帰り。
ヤングカップルめ。おとなしくチケットを差し出すでござるよ。ここは通さねえぜ。
エンジェルモートのイベントチケットを2人だけで消化しようなどとは許せんにゃりん。
Y'all are selfish, bro. Leave it alone.
余った枠に我らを加えるでござるよ。
They reached their hands towards us like zombies. They gradually got closer and closer. We were actually taking it easy, though. In fact, I'd say the situation was rather enjoyable.
なんだか昨日の部活がまだ続いてるみたいだね。
I'll pull out some water blasters, bro. Treat them like cats.
ああ、なんだか面白くなってきたぜ。連中を蹴散らして一気に行くぜ。
I'd probably enjoy that.
了解。みーちゃんやさとこちゃんを相手に回すよりは簡単かな。
That's fair.
だな。他の部活メンバーを敵に回すのに比べたら見たとこ2、30人ってとこか。
Well, you say that. I remember how you got whooped in Chapter 2, bro.
悪いが俺たちを止めるには人数がちょいと足りないぜ。
よーし、じゃあ行くよ。
おう。
Our enemies numbered about 20 to 30. If they wanted to stop us, they should have gotten 10 times more people than that. It's 2 a.m. I'm not doing a scream sound effect. I don't do them normally, but... You know, we can hit a little, like, oh yeah. Right, there we go. God, I'm a voice actor, guys, right? It's too late to do that, bro. Not happening. Let's see what's
い
going
らっ
on
しゃ
in
いま
here.
せ。エンジェルモーターへようこそ。本日はイベントデーになりますが、チケットはお持ちですか？
チケットはないですけど、名乗ればいいと言われてます。リュウグウレナと前原圭一です。
ただいまリストを確認しております。少々お待ちください。
Seems like many fans of this restaurant aren't normal people. I bet they try to get in with lies or fake tickets. No wonder this waitress makes sure to check the list.
いやしかし恐ろしい連中だった。あんなのがひしめいていたら健全な客は店内までたどり着けないぞ。
そうかもだね。でもレナの行く手を阻むことは誰にもできないんだよ。はう。
それはそうと相変わらずのキレだったな。あれは肘か膝か。顔面の急所を正確にぶち抜くとは恐ろしいやつ。
Jeez. Rena is a scary person. Don't play with her. The way Rena swept them off their feet with super fast invisible jabs was incredible. It even gave me a chill just thinking about it.
だってレナのお持ち帰りを邪魔するんだもん。きっとみんなかいいよ。みんなお持ち帰り。
怪異モードのレナが相手じゃな。
No one. No one.
まあ連中もあれだけ派手にぶちのめされれば敗北を受け入れられるだろう。
圭一くんだってすごかったよ。大勢に囲まれて飲み込まれたと思ったら急にシーンとなって、その後みんな涙を流しながら道を開けてた。
What did he say? I know it was something crazy.
なんでかな。
いや別に落選したお前たちの代わりにこの俺が入店してやる。だからどうし諸君、今は涙を流しても次の抽選の勝者になれと。まあそのあたりのことを少々語ったらみんな理解し。
圭一くんってアジテーション得意だよね。
He is really good at doing exactly that. He speaks to people.
聞いている人を共感させる能力というか、我が部の口先の魔術師って感じ。
Yep.
その口先の魔術師ってもう決定なのかよ。他の通り名はないのかよ。
I think it's a pretty good nickname, but yeah, it's a pretty fitting one for him too.
どうだろうね。考えてみるね。
Rena laughs loudly.
大変お待たせしました。リストにお名前を確認しました。お席へご案内します。どうぞこちらへ。
The waitress led us to our seats. The restaurant was completely packed today. It made for a cheerful but sort of crazy atmosphere. All the customers in the restaurants were very unique people, just like the ones loitering around outside. There was an aura of excitement in the store, and it also smelled a bit sweaty. They were also talking excitedly using special terms that I don't understand, again, just like the people outside.
やはりエンジェルモートは制服命だすね。
Ah, classic.
食は舌で味わうものでござるが、エンジェルモートは目で味わうのでござるよ。 今日は大変のウェイトレスさんはいないでござるか。
Bro, probably trying to keep her from getting harassed.
むほほほほほほ。女の子のローテのチェックは基本ですよ。ツンデレ好きなら火木の17時以降は絶対抑えたいですね。
Y'all are insane.
逆属性の方は金曜17時以降が勝負。
I regret coming here today. And at the same time, I was really glad that I didn't lose the game yesterday. This punishment might be a bit easier for the girls, but as a guy, if I had to undergo this punishment today, I'd have been kicked and punched by these crazy customers because they would have been burning with anger. Let me explain. I didn't come here just to eat lunch with Rena today. The punishment is as follows. The losers have to wear a costume that was randomly chosen and help with the event at Angel Mort as a waitress. The winners can enjoy eating desserts, receiving service from the losers. When this punishment was announced, I'd actually prepared myself for the punishment because I thought I'd lose the game like always. I was losing a lot recently, so I didn't think I could win. I assume Rena felt the same way. Who could imagine Rena and I would do so well as to win? They locked in. You're great, Keiichi Maibara. You made me proud. Everybody started shouting, clapping their hands, and whistling for joy. I don't blame them. They came here just for the event at Angel Mort. None of them expected to see the waitresses wearing different costumes like this.
Me.
Look at the sparkle in her eye, bro.
リカちゃん、お持ち帰り。
待て、落ち着け、レナ。ここでお持ち帰ったら罰ゲームにならん。
Rika-chan appears with glasses of water and wet napkins on a tray. They drew lots to decide on the costumes. Rika-chan's costume is the uniform of Angel Mort, which we use regularly for punishments.
いらっしゃいませ。エンジェルモートへようこそなのですよ。
Rika-chan put the glasses of water and the wet napkins in front of Rena and me.
かいよ、お持ち帰り。
I don't think you can do that. Rena raised her weird voice, and everybody in the store followed suit.
お持ち帰り。
No. No. Everybody started shouting the phrase. Only Rena's allowed to say that. It's already kind of weird that she says it, but it's even weirder when, I'm assuming grown men say it. Before I knew it, they were surrounding our table trying to burn the scene of Rika-chan serving customers into their minds.
リカちゃん、似合うよ、似合ってるよ。ジロジロ見られると恥ずかしいのです。
そういえばおなじみのエンジェルモート制服だが。
それはですね、前原さん、僕が説明いたします。
When did you get in? Tomita-kun, our underclassman, pushed his way through the crowd.
富田くんじゃないか。なんだ、岡村くんも。二人とも当選してたのか。
そんなことはどうでもいいです、前原さん。
Bro said, don't worry about that.
それよりもここでフルデさんの衣装について説明しましょう。ご存知の通り、エンジェルモートの制服は成熟した女性の魅力を前面に押し出すことを最大の目的とした衣装です。
Right.
よって着衣には多少の成熟した年齢相応のプロポーションが必要とされます。
Of course.
その意味においては未発達な体型であるフルデさんとは最も相性の悪い制服と言えるでしょう。
Very true. Where are we going with this? Have they adjusted it?
それだけでなく問題となったのはフルデさんの体型に合うサイズを店舗側が用意できなかったことにあります。
Yeah, because why would they have one?
そのためフルデさんはエンジェルモートの制服を着るという罰ゲームを実行するためには工夫をせざるを得なかったのです。そこでフルデさんはプール用の水着で衣装を代用したのですが、それによりカミオも予見できなかったであろう水着とエンジェルモート衣装というありえない組み合わせが生まれたのです。
That's a crazy way to end that. It's so eccentric that even God couldn't see it coming.
この武装により現在のフルデさんの攻撃力は従来火力をはるかに凌駕。属性付与、状態異常の追加、クリティカル発生率の大幅アップ、 しかも上昇中には無敵時間まで与えられるに至ったのです。
Of course, of course.
この素晴らしさがわかりますか？わかりますよね。つまりこれを竜宮さん風に言うとこうです。お持ち帰り。
Yo, I don't. Yo.
ダメだよ、ダメダメ。お持ち帰るのはレナなんだよ。
Bro said the line.
でも気持ちはわかるよ。お持ち帰り。
Tomoda-kun and Okamura-kun held Rena's shoulders, and they shouted the phrase in their excitement. The phrase had spread throughout the entire store and was now out of control. Anyway, Tomoda-kun and Okamura-kun surprise me sometimes. For their age, they're so good at giving passionate speeches. They'll probably make it big in the future, bro. They learned from you. Well, maybe they already had that.
みーちゃんとさとこちゃんは二人も楽しみ。
At that time, the crowd sent up another roar. I heard Mion telling them to let her through. I don't remember what kind of costume she picked. Oh my god. What? What? Hold on. Hold on. Are we in chapter 3? We might be in chapter 3.
とわ亀田くんかよ。そっか、デザート魔人の君がデザートフェスタにいないわけないよな。いや、元気？
元気かどうかなんてどうでもいいっす。それよりあれはどうなってるんすか？
How are all of Keiichi's like friends, people he's close to, just managing to get in? Like, Kamada-kun was in a state of great excitement. Thick veins were displaying on his forehead. The source of that excitement appears through the crowd.
こうなりゃやけだね。毎度どうも、ウルトラレアチーズケーキお待たせしました。
What in the world? Mion appeared with a cake on a tray. Oh, now I remember what she picked for her costume.
みーちゃんもかわいいよ。
ああ、もうとんでもない災難だよ。この格好はケイちゃんにやらせるつもりだったのにな。
Nice try.
前原さん、この格好も並々ならぬものがあります。しかも普段の部活では上昇無敗、完璧鉄壁猛満隊の委員長の普段の姿を知れば知るほどに8割深さ 500% だと思います。
Bro might not ever see this again.
しかし天下無敵の委員長ですら逃れることが叶わないとは。
Oh, she
恐
knows.
るべきは部活。
She knows what losing is now. She knows what it is now.
そういうことっすか、ケイ。二人で同じ器の巨大パフェを付き合った仲じゃないっすか。それなのに俺に内緒でそんな素敵な部活をしてたなんて。
Bro, normally he's forced to cross-dress. I don't know. You know, this is a high moment for Keiichi.
納得いかないっす。こんな部活の存在知ってたら野球なんかやらなかったのに。俺の人生のリセットボタンはどこ？
Bro is losing it. Bro, the crowd roars in excitement.
なんという部活でござるか。こんな夢のような部活は聞いたことないにゃり。
はあ、みんなダメだよ。部活はひなみ沢に住んでる人しか入れないんだよ。
なんとこれは住民票をひなみ沢に移すっきゃな。
Y'all are insane, because I feel like they might for real do it. Stop there, Rena. The population of Hinamizawa might double by tomorrow.
しかし素晴らしい罰ゲームっすよ、ケイ。女性を美しくする衣装は例えるならデザートのデコレーションと同じなんす。ショートケーキだって全て剥いてしまえば単なるスポンジケーキに過ぎないんです。それをクリームで飾り、十重旗への美しい装飾が奏でる素晴らしき魅惑のハーモニーは目で楽しみ 舌で味わい。
Yo, what? What? These scenes are so ridiculous, man. What?
しかるに、このセーラー服とブルマの組み合わせは素晴らしい。本来ならどちらも日常的な学校衣装であり、それはそれで味わいがあるのですが、それはそれで置いといて、制服と体操服という近いカテゴリーにありながら交わることのなかったこれら衣装を、そうデザートに例えるならまさにいちご大福。誰もが絶対に合わないと思った組み合わせが、誰もがの未体験の未知なる味わいを持たせるに至ったのです。
Bro, he actually learned from Keiichi. No, he kind of had it too when he was talking about desserts in the bathroom that one day in chapter 3. He always had it. Bro.
ケイちゃんってケイって呼ばれてるの？この暴走特急と仲良かったんだ。
全力で無関係を装わせてください。
Bro, what is with the club meeting of perverts?
なんだ
The guy tumbled in and landed on his feet elegantly. It was Coach. Okay, I mean, yeah, so it has to be chapter 3. There's no other way. He didn't know him in chapter 1. Well, he might have, but we just didn't know that he did. But, I don't know. I feel like it's probably chapter 3.
許しませんよ、前原さん。
How dare you? Coach glared at me in anger. He was breathing hard with a scary expression on his face.
許さないって何が許さないんですか？
That's what you didn't do, Keiichi.
あれですよ。
At the moment of his scream, 3 different metal buckets fell on his head one after another, and a Chinese walk finished the job. Predicted.
まあこの格好が罰ゲームになった時点で多少は心の準備がありましたのよ。
Yeah, Sataka's face there is insane.
さとこのメイドさんはある意味命に関わりますです。
Bro was going to show up.
さとこちゃんのメイドさんかわいいよ。お持ち帰り。
それはさせません。お持ち帰るのはこの私、入江京介です。
Bro, you're weird. I'm not gonna lie.
ダメだよ。ダメダメダメ。レナのお持ち帰りを邪魔するとハウハウハウハウ。
Bro, she's whooping him. Once Rena goes into cute mode, she becomes merciless. If a rock tried to sabotage her chance to take her favorite home with her, she'd break it into pieces. If it was a river, she'd fill it up with sand. If it was the sea, she'd split it in half like Moses did and walk through it. What? Coach got up on his feet like a zombie. I couldn't believe he could still get up after getting hit by all of our super fast attacks.
無駄ですよ。聞きません。ほら、無駄無駄無駄です。入江は何度でもよみがえる。メイドがそこにいれば何度でもよみがえる。それが人類の夢だからだ。
Bro, what is happening? This is the scene of all time.
ギャフグヒブビオ。
それでもダメ。レッハウ。
Irie was down on the floor, his body twitching. Rena just hit him with a barrage at point-blank range. Bro's gotta be
し
cooked.
かし圧巻な光景だな。勝ってよかったと同時に負けてたらその一角に俺がいたかもしれないことを思うと
It would have
と
been...
ても笑えん。
Buddy, you would have been done for. Like, seriously done for. I'm just curious. Okay. Just one of those things where I was like, I wonder how it looked before. I should have looked at, Oh, I should have looked at Keiichi's original sprites, because we never saw those.
まったく悔しいですわね。いくら罰ゲームも部活の務めとはいえ、こんな格好はあんまりでございましたよ。
チェ、 おじさんの格好に比べたらさとこの格好なんて
I
ま
was
と
gonna
も
say,
な
I
方
feel
じゃ
like
ない。
Satoko made out the best of the bunch.
メイドの格好がまともに見える時点でみんなただれてると思いますです。
ほらほらレナ、いつまでもハウハウしてないで席に座れ。負けた連中にサービスしてもらうのが勝者の特権なんだ。
I don't think she even cares about that at this point.
今日は誰を持ち帰ろうかな。は
そらウエイトレスさん、今日のおすすめは何かな。
こちらのフルーツパフェはいかがでしょうか。
ただいまシュークリームのセットがお安くなってましたよ。お水ならいくらおかわりしても OK なのです。
Yeah, you can get water. Rena's nose was bleeding because she got to keep the waitresses in cute costumes all to herself. I should actually thank her for acting crazy like that, because it made me look calmer than I really am. I was excited as her, and my nose would bleed too if I wasn't careful. I don't understand what a slack-jawed smile means.
ねえねえ、リカちゃんウェイトレスさん、あーやって。
Yo.
ですよ。
さとこ、俺にも一つ頼むよ。
Oh, she's gonna hate that.
ああ、ミオンには肩でも揉んでもらおっかな。
Y'all are taking advantage.
もう悔しいですわね。ほら、なさいませ。
チェ、肩もみか。おじさんの肩もみは高くつくからね。
Right, you're gonna feel their wrath later. Gulp. The audience gasped at the sight. I bet Angel Mort has never had an event as exciting as this one. Every table had 4 people squeezed in together, but only Rena and myself were at this table, and 3 waitresses in cute costumes were exclusively serving us. They were giving us shoulder massages and feeding us desserts, too. This had never happened before at Angel Mort, and it never will again.
そうでござったか。この人たちは。では、拙者のお冷やを一つお願いしたいでござるよ。
One of their customers wanted to get a piece of the wonderful treatment and patted Mion on the shoulder.
ああ、悪いけどおじさんウェイトレスじゃないのよ。お冷やはあっちにいる本物のウェイトレスにお願いしてくれる？
なんとウェイトレスさんではないのでござるか。ご奉仕はしてもらえんのでござるか。
別に私たち店員さんじゃございませんもの。あなたたちにサービスする言われなどありませんでしたよ。僕もサトコもミーも勝者の2人の慰み者なのですよ。ミー。
納得できん。
Oh, he just didn't exist in the original. I kind of had a feeling. That's why I wanted to see. All of a sudden, Kamada-kun screamed, starting to blame me.
納得できんって。
K さんばっかりこんな美味しい部活ができて、ずるすぎやっさー。
Skilla should live in Hinamizawa next time, buddy.
いや、それは俺たちも相応のリスクを払って得た権利だからな。
Bro risked being the one in that spot.
ずるいと言われても。
僕たちもずるいと思います。
Oh, nah, that's insane coming from you two. You guys know what they put Keiichi through. You know what he goes through. And the one single time, he doesn't have to go through all that. Y'all talking about, we don't think it's fair either. Man, if y'all don't shut it, you know you're wrong. You know you're wrong. Do you want to get forced to cross-dress all the time? Do you want to get forced to do the things Keiichi has to do? No, you don't. Be for real. And you're here to enjoy the fruits of his labor anyways. There for the reward, but not the punishments. Shows what kind of people you are. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun were standing behind Kamada-kun.
だいたい前原さんが昨日ので優勝できたのは僕たちが委員長を背後からやっつけたからですよ。
Okay, that is low-key true though.
前原さんが負けたら罰ゲームがかわいそうだなと思って、
yeah.
わざと負けてあげたんです。
Okay, now y'all want to play it up, huh? Okay.
僕たちにもちょっとは感謝してほしいです。
Okay, they do maybe have a point, in all fairness.
なんだか面白い展開になってきたね。どうするケイちゃん。
どうするも何も俺にどうしろと。
They've got a valid claim, I think.
よしよし、亀田君に富田、岡村、そこまで言うなら今日の勝者の権利をかけてケイちゃんとレナに勝負を挑んでみたら。
Oh, brother.
みーちゃん、それってどういう意味かな？
No. I mean, you better not lose to them.
部活メンバーの他の精鋭たちを圧倒的大差で破ったお二人だもんね。こんなメンバーですらない連中なんか束でかかってきても負ける気しないでしょ。
Of course, that's how we're playing this. Kamada-kun clapped his hands with glee. Samata-kun and Okamura-kun nodded in agreement. They looked fired up already. Damn it! I have to fight against them here?
そういえばケイチさんとレナさんの勝負は預かり勝負でございましたものね。少し外野が混じるとはいえ、ここで優勝決定戦をされるのも面白いですものね。もちろんここで負ければ僕たちと一緒に罰ゲームに加わってもらうことになるのです。
You guys just couldn't keep your mouths shut, huh? Now you're like all gonna regret this, huh? Rena's gonna win. Now every single guy who thought they were gonna get in on this, right? Who thought they were gonna get the waitress treatment, right? This is what they think, and they're wrong. You're fools. Like, you've doomed us all. Except Rena, probably.
くそー、なんかうまいことやられてる気分だが、レナはどうする？
レナは負けないよ。だってみんなレナがお持ち帰りするもん。ケイチ君はどんな罰ゲーム服かな？
I mean, it was over the moment she was in cute mode and a competition was suggested.
みんなお持ち帰り。
She sure is motivated. I could see Kamada-kun was ready to fight for the ticket to paradise at Angel Mort. My two underclassmen were also eager to have a chance to fight against the members of the club for the first time. Is Irie going to join in too? Yep.
この入江京介も混ぜていただきますよと。
So is Kamada like an honorary Hinamizawan for today?
よっしゃ、このメンツで決定しよう。ケイちゃんもレナも依存はないね。
チェ、依存も何も勝手に話をまとめやがって。
No, that's true.
まあまあ、面白くなった方がいいでしょ。
Get
富
another
田さ
one.
んも岡村さんもやめておくなら今のうちでしたよ。分かってると思いますけど、負けたら大変なことになりますのよ。
And one of you will lose, guaranteed.
それは覚悟のうちです。
僕たちも男なんです。いつかは戦いたかったんです。
They've seen the many horrifying punishments we had to suffer, and they still had the courage to join in. You know what? Given the fact that they had the courage to join in with a potential punishment on the line, I take back my slander from earlier. I had to admit, they have potential. Kamada, the evil lord of Angel Mort, sneered at the two.
まさか K さんと再び戦えるとは思わなかったっすよ。今回は正々堂々正面からぶつからせていただきますよ。
よりによってエンジェルモートで亀田君と戦うことになるとはな。ある意味野球で戦うより手強い気がするぜ。
Yeah, it's okay. This has got to be Chapter 3. I feel like it's all but confirmed at this point. Coach Irie, the Count of Maids, laughed like he was afraid of nothing.
ここは大人の本気というものを見せてあげましょう。そして今日ここに入江京介のためだけのハーレムを実現させるのです。
You are a grown man. I'm just saying.
みんな勝たせてあげないよ。はう。
よし、俺も覚悟を決めたぜ。いつまでもぼやいていても仕方ねえ。ミオ、勝負は何でやる？
It's a good question.
そう来なくっちゃね。みんな道を開けて。ウェイトレスの皆さん運んじゃってください。
Bro, they had it ready. In the kitchen, the real waitresses are standing by with many desserts on trays. It looks like the game is going to be either a speed eating or a competitive eating contest.
本当にいいんですか？
いいから運んじゃって。
That boy, Uncle Yoshiro, that's my goat. That's my Higurashi goat, bro. He has nothing but positive contributions. I can't wait for him to be like a cold-blooded murderer. But for now, that is my goat. One of one. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, they have nothing on Uncle Yoshiro, bro.
面白いことは何でも大歓迎だよ。せっかくのイベントでだしね、盛り上がらないと。
The waitresses checked with their manager and started bringing in the desserts. The two of my underclassmen, Kamada-kun, Coach, Rena, and I sat at a table together. A horrific amount of desserts was brought before us. I wanted to enjoy watching the cute waitresses placing desserts on the table, but right now I was in a fighting mood. I had no time for that. The audience surrounding our table seemed to have grown excited too. I bet it didn't even cross their minds that they would see a serious battle at Angel Mort today. But they didn't care, as long as it's fun to watch.
さて、
Well,
いいかい諸君。
when a bunch of dudes are dressed in some crazy outfits, they're not going to be so happy.
制限時間内にどれだけのデザートが食べられるかの勝負だよ。あらかじめ各メニューごとに重さは出してあるからね。食べ終わった後に食べた総重量で勝負をつけよう。
When the words competitive eating came up, Kamada-kun smiled evilly. Damn it, Kamada-kun had the advantage.
委員長、僕たちはコンビですので、2人で1人の扱いにしてください。
That's sly. I don't know.
ああ、いいよ。
I mean, I guess they're kids, but
いつもコンビだからね。特別に許可しよう。
damn it, having two stomachs for a competitive eating contest was an absolute advantage too.
レナはどうだ？やっぱり女の子には胃袋勝負はきついんじゃないか？
Don't doubt her.
そんなことないよ。かいみんなお持ち帰りできるならテーブルごとだって飲み込んじゃうよ。
I don't think she's kidding, Keiichi. I don't think that's a joke. I underestimated her. Rena can overcome physical impossibilities once she goes into cute mode. She might even be able to eat food that's heavier than herself.
監督はどうですか？
Buddy, you're cooked.
大食いは？
前原さん。
All I have to do is hear that. Bro is locked in.
そこにメイドがいる。それを手に入れるための条件が大食いならば、私に不可能の文字はありません。
I could see a black aura surrounding him, which I found very intimidating. The glint from the eyes that shone from behind his lenses was sharp enough to pierce an iron board, so he's the only one with any doubt. Damn it, he was in maid mode, which is equally as strong as Rena's cute mode. Bro can endure anything. Shit, I was the only one without any advantages.
じゃあ準備はいいかな？レディーゴー！
I wasn't ready emotionally, but Mion started the game without hesitation. Damn it, there was no turning back. I had to do this. There were many kinds of desserts before us. Some were easy to eat and some were not. So I had to get the dessert that's the easiest to eat before anybody got it. What about the yogurt parfait? Ooh, rah. Dramatic sound effect that I'm not going all in on. But of course, everybody seemed to be thinking the same thing. That means Rena got it first. Everybody reached out for the same dessert as fast as they could. A white light flashed in front of her eyes and the parfait disappeared. My hands clashed with the others in midair.
みんな遅いよ。
There's nobody that goes on the offensive like Rena in cute mode. Look, Irie has infinite endurance, but Rena has infinite attack, you know?
レナがお持ち帰っちゃった。はう。
Rena took the parfait. She was literally as fast as lightning. Damn it, I knew it! There was no way I could beat Rena in the opening move. Rena took the parfait like a frog catching a fly with its tongue and swallowed it in a single gulp. She did all that in seconds. She's usually gentle and calm, but she's a totally different person right now. Really, it's terrifying. I see. I now understand why people say women always have room for dessert. But in the special environment of Angel Mort, Kamada-kun wasn't far behind Rena. He grabbed a fruit parfait and swallowed it as if drinking beer from a mug. It looked very dynamic. Bro, you might need to stop appreciating and start eating.
無駄ですよ、ケイさん。エンジェルモートでの戦いで俺に勝てる可能性は 1% もないっす。
He might be right. I think Keiichi is cooked. I think Ren is walking out of this with a dub.
まだまだ行くっすよ。
Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun looked at the extraordinary techniques Ren and Kamada-kun are displaying, but they seemed to be very calm. They knew their advantage. As long as they kept a steady pace, they could eat more and eat faster than anybody else, because there are two of them. Rena and Kamada-kun were eating very fast, but they might slow down in the middle, so this was going to be an unpredictable race. Son of a bitch, I won't lose this game. I shoved my dessert into my mouth and kept eating. Kept eating. I just kept eating. Ow, ow, ow. Damn it, my mouth got extremely cold when I swallowed a ball of ice cream. How could the others do this so easily? There's an idea. I should melt it first. I could use some kind of heat to melt it first and then drink it down. Plus, it would also be easier for my stomach to take it when it's not so cold. But how should I melt it? It would take too long to use body heat, and I didn't have any other source of heat with me.
すみません、ウェイトレスさん。注文をホットコーヒーをお願いします。
I think Keiichi's thinking the same thing.
できれば器は鍋だと助かります。
監督。
甘いですよ、前原さん。熱で溶かすなんてて、私だって思いついていました。
No, damn it! He was one step ahead of me. I could order hot coffee too, but I'd still be one step behind him. I'd have to come up with something to melt my ice cream faster than hot coffee.
クールになれ、前原圭一。考えるんだ。考えろ。
Why does it kind of look like Tomitake in the original? Am I crazy? I don't know, the red vest kind of looking thing makes me think, but let's just keep moving. It's kind of interesting. Keiichi-kun held his head, screamed that line, and bent his neck backwards. Why did the text color change? Is this to indicate like a different narrator? When he gets like this, he always speaks of everything that's on his mind, and it's very fun to listen to. But I had to concentrate. I needed to win this game. I was going to keep eating as much as I can and take all of the adorable girls home with me. Definitely Rena. Good to know. I was having so much fun. I was so thrilled that I felt like my heart was about to burst. I might have been acting totally uncute, but I didn't care, exactly because I was having so much fun. Mii-chan always comes up with such extraordinary games. Satoko-chan loves to play pranks. Rika-chan is very sneaky, but it's impossible to hate her. And Keiichi-kun is always so funny. I enjoy every day. I wish I could express how much I really do enjoy them better than by saying how happy I am. Sometimes I even feel anxious because I enjoy every day so much. There's as much misfortune and pain as there is happiness and pleasure in this world. And I know very well that they all come to you regardless of how hard you try. Okay, this sounds a lot like Chapter 3 Rena, actually, now that I think about it. You'll have happy days regardless of how hard you try. You'll have unhappy days regardless of how hard you try. But it doesn't mean you don't need to try hard. I can try to make my days even happier and last longer. In the same way, I can try to make my unhappy days happier and end faster. I struggle very hard to achieve that. That's why I'm going to enjoy the happy days I have now as much as I can. I must not take them for granted because they won't last forever. They won't. One day, all of a sudden, these happy days will come to an end. I know it. That's why I was trying to enjoy the happiness I received today so that I wouldn't regret it. If even the world ended tomorrow. I mean, this is literally like the words of Chapter 3 Rena. I noticed my hands stopped moving while I was thinking about these things. When spending time with my friends, I feel so happy that my heart might burst. I even love doing the punishments. They're fun for me. I have friends. I have a place where I fit in. I have time in which to be myself. I have a me that I love. I love everybody. I love Mii-chan, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan, and Keiichi-kun. I love everybody in my class and everybody in Okonomiya.
おお、レナの手が止まったね。さすがにあのペースじゃ長続きしないかな。
チャンスだよ、岡村。
I lost in introspection.
今こそ竜軍さんを抜かすんだ。
無駄無駄無駄。
Okay, Dio.
エンジェルボートでこの俺に勝とうという時点で蜂蜜杏仁豆腐より甘いぜ。
レナさんしっかりしてくださいまし。監督を勝たせたら承知しませんですことよ。
私は負けませんよ。飲めと言われれば太平洋だって飲み干してみせましょう。
どうしたレナ。見てろ、ここからいよいよケイイチ様の逆転劇の始まりだぜ。なあみんな。
Bro's got the crowd on his side.
レナ、どうしましたですか？
He got a little sentimental. I'd left the table.
ごめん。ちょっとお手洗い行ってくるね。
I was just so happy. I didn't care who won or lost this match. Of course, it's more fun when I go crazy to try and win, but I can never be happier than this. If I could seal this happiness in a piece of crystal, I'd carry it around with me in my pocket. I'd use it as heat to ward off the cold of hard days that are certain to come to me. I know they will. You're not truly happy when you feel happiness. When you're bored with happy days and don't even realize that you're happy, that's when you've achieved true happiness. That's actually kind of spitting facts. You only truly feel happiness when you're in a freezing cold environment. That's the only time your heart can feel the warmth of even a small happiness. On my way to the bathroom, I saw a waitress and a customer arguing at the register. The customer was a woman. The waitress was trying to explain that the lady needed a ticket to get a seat because the restaurant was holding an event today. But the lady, saying she didn't know, was still trying to get a seat. After a while, the store manager was called and started apologizing to the lady.
まったく。
Who the heck is this? Who is this? She's shown in all of them. Name is suspiciously close to Rena, if I do say so myself.
チケットないなら入れないって表の見えるところにちゃんと張り紙しといてよ。たく客を何だと思ってんの？
The lady's eyes met mine. I guessed who it might be when I heard the voice, so I was prepared.
あら、レイナちゃんじゃない？こんなとこで会うなんて奇遇よね。
Yeah, maybe.
あ、どうもこんにちは。こんなとこで会うなんて本当に奇遇ですよね。
I held out my hand for a high five. She gave me one.
聞いてよレイナちゃん。ひどいのよ。今日はチケットがないと入れないとか言うのよ。
そうみたいですね。
I initially assumed this was going to be like Rena's mom, but I mean, the way she's referring to her, that's not usually how parents refer to their kids, is it? I figured there'd be like a different honorific. I don't actually know though, now that I think about it. I don't actually know. Maybe. We'll see who this is.
まあ仕方ないわね。ねえ、お店には入れなくてもお土産にケーキくらいは売ってくれるんでしょ？
ええ、それは問題ございません。さあ、どうぞこちらからどれでもお選びください。
The store manager gave her a fake smile and led her to their showcase.
私はこの可愛らしいのにしようかしら。あの人はショートケーキみたいな地味なのが好きだったっけ？ねえレイナちゃん、あなたはどれがいい？
私ですか？いいのいいの？は
本当にこういうのに目がないわね。
Who is this?
どれでも好きなの選んでいいわよ。
There's someone with pink hair that I'm like not thinking of.
じゃあ、私もショートケーキでいいです。
あら、他にもこんなに可愛らしいケーキがたくさんあるのに。
なんだかとっても迷っちゃうけど、こういう時はショートケーキが一番美味しそうに見えるんです。
そう。じゃあショートケーキを2つとプチトリアノンを1つ。お持ち帰りでね。
Okay, this has got to be Rena's mom. Like, there's no way. She imitated the smile I usually made. I replied with the same big smile. Then I smelled the strong scent of her perfume and it made me sneeze.
あら、風邪？
Rina-san's perfume and I never seemed to get along. I don't know. Like, like, part of me is like, this is her mom, but like, I don't know. I feel like that would have been made clear by now. Who the heck is this? Are we not going to get to see the results of the competition either? That's kind of crazy. They're just going to introduce a new character and what? Tell me they're about to send it to the tips. Don't. Well, I'm certainly not playing another sub-chapter tonight, so that's kind of wrong. It's kind of wrong. Well, let's go to the tip and we'll talk about the chapter. Business card. Rina, height 160 centimeters, B89, W60, H87. Hobbies, I'm interested in indoor gardening. I want to make tea with the herbs I grow. I always enjoy your funny and interesting stories. We should go out somewhere next time in private. Gentlemen's Club Blue Mermaid. Private manager Rina Mamiya. So that's the club that got robbed, right? Is this Tepe's, like, mistress? I don't remember the name. I might have it written down. I don't know. Because that's the whole tip. So I feel like the Blue Mermaid part is the relevant part there. Which is interesting, because that is the place that got, like, money jugged from it. It was the place where Tepe's mistress worked. So they really want us to think about that place, it seems like. Interesting. I might have to look into what I remember about that place. Nothing's really coming to mind right now, beyond what I've just said. So let's talk about this subchapter. Again, it doesn't seem like anything super important. It was just, you know, an Angel Mort scene. It was some good fun. I don't think there's anything too deep to look into here, besides the fact that this is almost certainly Chapter 3, right? Kamada is here, Irie is here, right? And it's not impossible that we met them in Chapter 1 and Keiichi just didn't know. But I don't think it's likely, because if he had met Irie in Chapter 1 when he hears Kantaku, right, he would probably know who they meant, and there was no indication that he knew who they meant. So I assume that this is Chapter 3, which is interesting, right? Okay, even beyond that, by the way, we have small things like Rena's exact speech from Chapter 3 that she had with Keiichi, like, you never know, the world might end tomorrow, a volcano might erupt and kill all of us except you, or something, right? Like, it was crazy, like, how accurate it was, by the way. Like, actually insane. And so, I mean, you got that, so that feels like Chapter 3. I wonder if maybe this is the mistress, and she's about to go missing, and this is kind of an appearance of her. Why does Rena seem to have ties with her? That's interesting. That's interesting to me. I don't know. I don't really know a reason right now. Again, I probably shouldn't sit here and theorize super duper hard on that. But point is, it's probably Chapter 3. This Rina, I think, is probably going to be relevant here soon. Like, to the plot as a whole. Like I said, if it's Chapter 3, I think there's a good chance she's involved with she is involved with the Blue Mermaid, which means there's a good chance that she is in some way involved with the whole Tepe situation. Like, kind of leading him to Hinamizawa. I can't remember if she's literally the one who took it, like the money, and therefore was like the body that was found at the beginning of the chapter. Let me just pull this up. Pull up my notes. Because I have, like, whoever it was, I have their name. Okay. Well, I wrote Rina and did not get a result. So I don't know. I don't see anything in my notes with their name, but I could have sworn they gave the name, right? Oh my goodness. I really, really thought it was revealed exactly who it was. Maybe it isn't a tip and I didn't write the name down. Before the next episode, I'll just pull it up and I'll pull up that tip and see if it's in there. Because now I have to know. You know? Now I kind of have to know. But overall, this episode, it didn't really progress much. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. There was some small setup here and there. You can just kind of tell this chapter is not going to move quite in the way that I felt like kind of chapter 5 did and chapter 4 did. It's kind of going back to chapters 1 through 3 where things start a little slower, right? You have those fun moments and things kind of fall apart. We obviously saw moments that were with like kind of Rena there. Like as the main character, we were in her head. I wonder, right there at the end, we got it. I wonder if we're going to switch to her as the main character. If that's what's going to happen here, because it kind of seems like it's a Rena-centric route. I mean, the route starts with her, she clearly did something drastic, and we get that dramatic reveal. Or not dramatic reveal, she's like, that dramatic curtsy, like, this is like, she says something along the lines of, like, this is the story of Rena Ryuugu, right? Like, and so I can only imagine that it's going to be a lot about Rena, whether she's the protagonist or not, whether she's the narrator or not, right? I imagine she's going to be relevant. Keiichi is the one on the icon for the game, and when you boot it up, so I wonder if that means he's also going to be pretty important. We're going to explore maybe a bit of Keiichi. I wonder if, right now we're obviously in Chapter 3, I almost wonder if we're going to get into Chapters 3 and 1. Would that be insane? If I think it's time loops, what if there's a time loop mid-chapter? That'd be kind of crazy. That's maybe a stretch, but like, it would be kind of crazy. We kind of start to learn everything that's going on with Keiichi. That'd be interesting. Not very likely though, in my opinion. We got a little bit of setup, like I said, that scrapyard, the junkyard scene. Like it's alluding to something. We're gonna see what that builds up to. Rina shows up. We're gonna see what her role in the story is, who exactly she is, and we kind of got some tips about, or some like the tip regarding Rika's ideology on fortune. And I think that's going to be relevant. The more we understand about Rika, I think the more we might be able to understand her role in the story as a whole, because none of the chapters so far have, like, besides 4, which is the shortest, none of them have, like, individually focused a lot on her, I feel, right? We kind of have an idea that she has a really big role in the plot, and we hardly know anything about it. And that's really relevant. So any little scrap of information we can glean, I think is important. So, like I said, I really don't think we got a ton of important stuff this chapter, or like this episode. But overall, it was a pretty fun episode, so I'm not going to complain too much, you know. I'll live with it. I know it'll pick up, so I'm really not too worried about it. But I think that's all. Well, I think. That is all we have time for in this episode. I'm sure I'll record another one tomorrow. I'll probably buffer the uploads by a few days to give myself a little bit of time to pace it out. So I'm recording this on Sunday, well, I guess Monday morning. And then, so I'll probably record tomorrow, and then maybe upload Tuesday. So you can probably expect an upload Wednesday. And that means there will probably be one Thursday. We might just be doing daily uploads, at least for a little bit. Maybe for the first 3. It kind of depends on if I record on Wednesday or not. We'll figure out when we get there. I'll let you guys know where we're at as we get there. But for now, you can probably assume daily uploads for at least the next few days. So I hope you guys are looking forward to those. I'm looking forward to playing more of this chapter. Like I said, even if this was a slower start than I anticipated or was personally hoping for, I will be honest. I have no doubt that it's going to pick up and it's going to be interesting. I definitely think there's some hints of things to be intrigued by. So I'm looking forward to getting there. I hope you guys are looking forward to see it. But until then, peace.